And welcome to the Bill Michaels Show. We are on the air. We are live again. We are here at Pappy Hoyle Campground next to Full Throttle. We're in Sturgis, South Dakota. Different location today. Not right out there in the midst of everything, but today we are high above the perch, if you will. As if you want to take a look real quick on the Bud Light live stream, you can see where we're at. That's our view from where we sit. As this is kind of the front entrance of the place, and then obviously, you look off into the other direction, and there's the butte and the pool and all that down below. So that's where you can find us if you're out and about and happen to be in the area listening to the program today. Otherwise, welcome into all of you listening all throughout the upper Midwest, the state of Wisconsin and beyond. So glad to have you. So Ben Kenny producing the show. Ben, where do you want to begin today with this magnanimous deal that the Big Ten is about to acquire where they're going to get $1.25 billion? Or do we think, maybe we'll go with the big sigh of relief that the hallucinogenic tea that Aaron Rodgers has been sipping on is not deemed an illegal drug via the NFL?
So that I was thinking about the latter, Bill, so that we could at least fill our required quota of talking about Aaron Rodgers and then move on to, other stuff.
So the ayahuasca tea, where he feels 100 hands on his body and love like he's never felt before, and this euphoric moment is apparently not illegal. And even though it does create hallucinogenic sights, things, sounds, feelings within himself, it is not deemed inappropriate by the NFL. That's the good news. Other than that, I don't know what else to say about it. I didn't put it this way. I don't think it was a big deal. Otherwise, he would never have told anybody. You know what I mean? So, because originally when it was stated that this is what he did, everybody went crazy. Oh, my God, Aaron Rodgers is taking hallucinogenic drugs. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Aaron Rodgers is not a stupid man by any stretch of the imagination. Now, he can be a little full of himself. He can put himself on a pedestal. He can remain rather arrogant at times, but he's not stupid. He's not going to come out. First of all, he's not going to take anything that's going to be deemed illegal. Secondly, he's not going to come out and tell everyone what he did if indeed it was illegal. That's not happening. So I never for a moment thought that there was going to be any kind of a suspension or deep investigation into this at all, because my guess is that he's already checked. Otherwise, he doesn't make that kind of a statement. Now, he has led us down a primrose path before with the whole I've been vaccinated thing. But, in this particular case, he's not going to tell everybody that he's gone and take hallucinogenic drugs knowing that it would be illegal and he's got a suspension coming from the NFL. That's not going to happen. He's not going to tarnish his name like that. So I never worried about it. Did you ever think for a second that Aaron Rodgers was going to have any kind of an issue with the NFL over this, Ben?
No. And honestly, I was surprised to see that they even said he wouldn't have an issue.
Right.
And then I just stopped thinking about it. I saw the whole story. So I figured we need to fill at least 5 minutes of time talking about it so that the bosses upstairs are happy. We talk about Rodgers.
Do you know who drove the train via the investigation?
Into Rodgers?
Yeah, into this, whether or not it is or isn't an hallucinogenic drug that would be deemed illegal by the NFL. Do you know who drove that train? The same idiot, the same moron, the same cranius rectus invertus sphincter face that also wanted the meaningful placed upon the All-Star game in Major League Baseball.
Who's that?
Mike Greenberg.
No way.
Yeah. That's all he talked about. The NFL's got to look into this. And I kept thinking to myself, why? Why do they got to look into this? I guarantee you there's nothing to see here. Oh, well, we don't know. We don't know if this is illegal or not. It's always guess what? It's always that overhyped crap coming out of the four-letter network that always drives that train. Just like right after the tie of the All-Star game in Milwaukee, when he and Mike Golick came up with the giant idea to say there should be meaning placed upon the All-Star game. Therefore, we don't have a travesty like this ever happen again. And then lo and behold, we had the winning team their conference, if you will, their league is the one that would have home field advantage in the World Series. And then all of a sudden, 3-4 years later, they deemed it stupid. And why would Major League Baseball do this? This is not right. And it's like, well, it was because it was your dumbass idea to begin with. So
his nickname is Greeny. What do you expect?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Tremendous broadcaster. All the credit in the world, but sometimes just the overhype of crap can be annoying. So anyway, but that's it. Glad to see everybody on the live stream today. For all of you watching, this is the look as we can see just outside of the overlook here, which a beautiful view. Are you watching this at all today, Ben? Are you seeing this?
I've not turned it on yet.
Okay. It is beautiful. Beautiful here today. It's going to be hot, though. At least today I'm out of the direct sunlight, so I'm liking that. So, that being said, now you've got NBC jumping into the mix, CBS jumping into the mix, Fox already in the mix when it comes to the Big Ten, and ESPN could possibly be blocked out and left to fend for themselves, which they would end up having SEC football, which is still huge. Don't get me wrong. They would have SEC football and Pac-12 and Big 12, which we all know the Pac-12 and the Big 12 are beginning to falter miserably. But that being said, because really the two power conferences are the SEC and the Big 10. But the $1.25 billion estimated deal between all of the networks and streaming services could be coming soon to a Big Ten network near you. That is a chunk of change. When they finally get USC and UCLA into the mix, it is $1.25 billion worth of broadcast rights. And NBC, and the reason I bring up NBC is basically because NBC is now in on this bidding. And that means if NBC jumps to the Big Ten, NBC is not going to pay the $75 to $100 million strictly for Notre Dame football. That almost demands Notre Dame then falls in line and comes into the Big Ten. So that would almost demand that. So you would have the Big Ten on Fox in the noon hour, Central Time, 3:30-ish. Well, I think I don't even know if that's Central Time. I think it's Eastern Time.
That's Eastern.
That's Eastern Time. 3:30-ish, Big Ten on CBS. 7:30, Big Ten on NBC. And then ESPN, noon would have the SEC. ABC and ESPN would have the SEC. And then they would have the SEC or ACC in the evening on ABC and ESPN. So it will be a bit of a change. You would no longer have Kirk Herbstreit and Fowler doing the games, which would be a little different. I like them, probably as the best college broadcast team. But nevertheless, the Big Ten would then be jumping to NBC and wrapping its arms around then what everybody believes would be Notre Dame football coming into the Big Ten, which is a huge get. And if you then bring in Notre Dame, then you're probably going to grab one more team along the way. And who might that be? Is it going to be Oregon? Is it going to be someone else? Stanford, possibly? Who are they going to get, and who's going to jump ship out of the Pac-12? So there you go. That is the way things are going to kind of fall into place for the Big Ten. But more so, it's about the money. $1.25 billion. Which I guess if you would have won the Mega Millions a couple of weeks ago, you probably could buy your own Big Ten network. When you think about it. Not a bad way to go, right? There you have it. Ben, any thoughts on the Big Ten and the money that's pouring in? Are we should we have concentrated more on our athletic prowess?
Obviously, number one. Yeah. I mean, probably you more than me because I'm 5'10" and slimly, like I could never have played football, to put it simply. But no, nothing that hasn't already been said. My first thought here, and we talked about this at Big Ten Media Day, this is obviously setting up Fox versus ESPN as the controllers of the super conferences, if you will.
Right.
So moving forward, when you talk about playoff expansion, which could be the thing that determines whether Notre Dame joins a conference, there is no way the playoff expands without Fox getting at least half of those rights.
Right.
Now that ESPN and Fox have completely separated, and Kevin Warren hinted at this at Big Ten Media Day, like we will not see the playoff go to 8 or 12 or 16 or whatever until they do it like the NFL playoffs where Fox gets half of the games or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I can, which I can see. That just means more money for everybody. And then they would most likely, correct me if I'm wrong, they would alternate the championship game between the two. Just like they do with the NFL, where 1 year it's on NBC, 1 year it's on Fox, 1 year it's on CBS. Then you would basically have it flip-flopping back and forth between ESPN and Fox.
Yeah, and that's why Kevin Warren and the Big Ten voted against expansion this last time. They kind of hit it in contesting automatic qualifiers or some other nuances in there. But it's because all of this movement was going to happen after the new media rights deal for the playoff closed.
Right.
So they wanted to delay it, see all this play out so that Fox can get some of it. Because that's where all the money is.
Right.
And
right.
We know that's what drives it all.
So that's the way things shake out in the Big Ten. But back home, we got the Brewers back tonight, trying to get their mojo back and trying to just shake off the absolute pitiful funk that this team has been in. And the fallout from yesterday's show reverberated. I was downtown yesterday. I was at a place called the Iron Horse Saloon. And a couple walked in from, they were from Wisconsin, Brewers fans, and said that, Mark has ruined the team and Mark is, just anti-Attanasio. But they heard some of the comments from our show yesterday as they were watching from, I would assume, their campsite or wherever it is they're staying. And so the bottom line was this, that the belief is, from what people are taking away from David Stern's comments, Mark Attanasio's comments, the trade, getting rid of the players in part in the trade, basically picking up the prospects for Josh Hader, and the message that was sent, or at least believed to be sent. And again, this is where I go back to my my days of watching Law and Order, where it is the mere appearance of impropriety or perception becoming reality, in which all you need to do is do something that people believe. Whether it's right or wrong, it's something people believe that becomes prevalent. And the belief is that this was a deal done because Mark and David and Craig didn't believe they could really get to a World Series, so you might as well go ahead and start bloodletting the money now. Which in turn then tells the guys inside that clubhouse, we don't believe in you. We don't think you can win. We don't think you have a legitimate shot. We're going to go ahead and start tanking this season. And that's what people are thinking. At least according to some of the emails, the people that I ran into yesterday, people that I've been texting and talking with, is like, they didn't have a shot anyway. Mark's cheap. And I don't believe all of that. I think they did have a legitimate shot at getting to it because you had a team good enough to win and win the division. I don't think anybody would argue with that. Then all you got to do is get there. Now, is the deck loaded? Have you stacked the deck to beat the Dodgers? Have you stacked the deck to beat the Padres, to beat the Mets? No, you don't have the same level of talent. We can all admit to that. But as we all know, the almighty equalizer is injury. You don't know what's going to happen in the remainder of August, going into September. You don't know. The almighty equalizer is the injury game, or just getting hot at the right time. You get healthy and you get hot. I've always said to win a championship, you got to be good, you got to be healthy, you got to be hot, you got to be lucky. Sometimes luck and health run into one another. So it didn't mean that while you may not believe they have the same quality, same levels, same stature of talent as the Dodgers or the Mets, but it doesn't mean that you can't get hot at the right time. Guys just start seeing the ball a little bit better. Guys just start playing better. Mojo starts to hit, and you just start to feel a little bit better. And all of a sudden, you get on a roll. It doesn't mean you can't go into the postseason and do damage. So I didn't completely eliminate the Brewers from that. But now you've kind of told your team, yeah, we don't believe in you. So it's up to the team at this point to say, you should have, and therefore we will overcome. or the team could say, you know what, you don't believe in us, screw you, talk to you later, and they're going to start looking forward to what's coming up this offseason, especially guys with on one-year contracts, or this is it, or they've got arbitration coming up. So guys will play for stats, guys will play for a lot of things, but you'd like to see guys camaraderie-wise, clubhouse chemistry-wise, play for one another and play for wins rather than just kind of feeling like they've been left in the dust by ownership and management. So there you have it. Coming up a little bit later on today, Wayne Larrabee, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, is going to be joining us. Also, we'll be talking live out here in Sturgis with Jesse James Dupree and the band Jackal about their 30th anniversary party coming up and what's going on regarding the motorcycle ride we have on September 4th back in Milwaukee. So we've got that coming up a little bit later on today as well. We got a lot of things to take a listen to, including Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers, who has been deemed the starter for the preseason, at least the first preseason game. We'll get into that discussion. Anything else regarding the Oswego or whatever the hell you call it, hallucinogenic drug? If you have any discussion regarding that, people are wondering how you can have a hallucinogenic drug in a tea and not have it be illegal. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. Couldn't tell you. But I know it's not. So there you have it. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. Come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We are broadcasting live. We are in Sturgis, South Dakota, Pappy Hoyle Campground, right next to Full Throttle. Last night was cranking. It was packed last night. Packed last evening. Ben, I will tell you this. There were a few people that saw it. I was in a police cruiser last night.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because?
I was. It was funny because we were coming back. Now, and people know I don't drink when I'm on the bike. I may have a beer, but that's about the extent of it. And so we walked around downtown. We went shopping, and we were coming back, and there was a stretch of road coming out of Sturgis that the state patrol, the Sturgis police, they patrol heavily. The police presence out here is heavy. I mean, heavy. There's police on every street corner. And it was funny because we were at the gas station just before you exit, like the actual downtown area. There was a gas station, and there was a car there. Oddly enough, from Illinois. It was being sieged. I mean, they had the seats ripped out of this thing. My assumption is there were drugs in it. That was just the assumption we all had as we're standing there watching. Well, really, I shouldn't say standing there. We were on the motorcycle, but we were sitting at a stoplight watching this. And they had a tow truck, and they had no regard for this car. They were slamming chains on it, hooking it up, dragging it across the parking lot. People were pulled out, handcuffed, the whole thing. And they're pulling bags of stuff out of this thing, like garbage bags. And I don't know how much it was, but, when you have an area that goes from, so many people, 2,000 people to 50,000 people, you're going to attract an element. So anyway, long story short, you had people that were pulled over at this gas station, and they were then sitting right there on the corner with the police department. Anyway, long story short, we pulled out. We came around the corner, and we were talking about probably what the police see out here. And I wasn't really paying attention. It's 35 through there, and we were talking about the police and probably the harassment they receive, and just with so many people and trying to keep control. And the next thing you know, the lights went on. And I'm like, oh, this guy's pulling somebody over. And so I got out of the way, and it turns out it was me. They will get, for 5 over, they will pull you over. Now, he just said, hey, I wanted to let you know what was going on, but they, check your license and all that kind of stuff. So he's like, let's go sit in the car. So sitting in the front seat of the police cruiser, and there's a few people cruising past that are texting Kristen and I saying, are you guys okay? We can come back. We'll get the bike. And we're like, no, we're fine. No problem. I wasn't going to jail or anything like that. It was for 5 over. And I think what they do just more so than anything is just let everybody know, hey, we're here. So guy was really cool. As a matter of fact, we ended up, shaking hands, and Kristen jumps back on the bike as we get ready to pull out and blows him a kiss. Thank you. Thanks for keeping us safe and for what you do, that type of thing. So, but yeah, for a few people that drove past last night, that was me sitting in the front seat of the police car last night. So that was my wild piece of. I feel like I've been, I just got out of the joint. I was sitting in a cramped front seat of the car, and I'm, and people are texting me last night with the song Bad Boys. So I feel like I've done my time now. So that's it. That was the big excitement from last night. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, you can feel free to go ahead and do so. Also, if you want to find us over on Twitter, feel free at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Find Ben Kenny at Ben Z Kenny as well, at Ben Z Kenny. You can find us over on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. You can subscribe for free over on YouTube. Watch us there each and every day as well. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show and see the program there. And you can also check us out on Twitch TV. Pac fan, you're free again. Just an FYI, you're out of the jail. So you should be good to go. Our buddy ESPN Steve says 53 degrees here this morning. When I checked into the Sturgis webcam at 4:15 Mountain Time, it was already 74 degrees. It is going up to 91 today. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 97 tomorrow, 97 Thursday, and then it's cooling off quite a bit to 94 on Friday before it gets back into the mid-80s come the weekend. So, yes, it was – yesterday was – I've always said – they always say, wow, it's not humid. It's a dry heat. Well, so's an oven, and I wouldn't stick my head in it. It was hot. It was hot yesterday, no doubt about it. They had when I was talking to the officer last night, the one thing you have to watch out for is when you're out there riding, you can feel the wind and it's like a hot air, but still it's a breeze. But your body in the meantime is sweating and sweating buckets. You just don't realize it. And what they find is that people will get off motorcycles and just like drop over and pass out because they're dehydrated. So that's the one thing out here you got to be careful of, is some of the people that just tend not to hydrate properly, so to speak. But nevertheless, yeah, it's warm out here. And I know back home it's anywhere from the 50s to the 70s. And I am looking forward to getting back home. I really am. We were even talking about taking off maybe a day early just to get home and enjoy the rest of the weekend that's upcoming. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. Why? Because Matt LaFleur just spoke to the media. We want to listen to what Matt LaFleur had to say this morning as the Packers back in the practice field today. So we're going to come back and give you that in its entirety. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Don't forget, go to PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com. And they have, not very often, in today's economy, you're going to find a deal that's as good as this on a premium brand. And right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, you can have the beautiful, same things I have installed in my home, in your home. Pella Windows installed in your home. 2.99% financing, locked in, 10 years worth. Or maybe you want to go with free blinds or shades, even between the glass. You can go with the premium wood or Impervia fiberglass for the patio door. Entryway systems, all that kind of stuff. You got to take advantage of deals like this right here, right now, because we all know that the cold winds are going to start blowing eventually. Not only are these types of offers getting harder to come by, kind of with the low interest rate locked in, because we all know interest rates are fluctuating. But there's just no telling how long it may be until you see another offer like this. So don't miss out. 2.99% for 10 years locked in. Go to PellaWI.com. That is Pella, P-E-L-L-A. PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That is 855-PELLA-WI. Matt LaFleur, Green Bay Packers, coming up next on The Bill Michaels Show.
Ready? This is The Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Oh, 2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Proof credit.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We are live. We're in Sturgis, South Dakota. And we can't do it without our great friends from Cunis RV. And thanks to Scott and the whole staff and management of the one out down in Elkhorn, because they're the ones that put us in the brand new big Inna Cruiser that got us out here. It's beautiful. I'll tell you this. We were broadcasting live in front of it yesterday, and it's the one that everybody pulls and stops by and says, "Oh my God, can we take a look inside that thing?" It really is cool. It's badass. I put a picture up of it over on the Facebook fan page when we left for Sturgis the other day. So if you haven't seen it already, you can take a little bit of a look at it. But Cunis RV, Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealership. Go to cunisrv.com, K-U-N-E-S, cunisrv.com. And they carry so many different makes, so many different models. Whether it's a motorhome, travel trailer, fifth wheel, whatever it happens to be, they have it. They also do consignments. So if you're wanting to get rid of yours, why hassle with it? Go ahead and give it to them, and they'll come out and get it from you and go ahead and try to sell that thing for you. And that gives them a whole bunch of inventory. So whether it's Jayco, Alliance, Coachman, Forest River, Gulfstream, Nexus, like we have, Thor, which is beautiful, Heartland, I can keep going. They've got them all. That's our friends from Cunis, K-U-N-E-S, cunisrv.com, all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. They continue to grow. They continue to buy more and more dealerships and give you the buying power. That is cunisrv.com. Matt LaFleur, the Green Bay Packers, had a chance to go to the podium just a little while ago. Let's take a listen to what the head coach had to say.
Matt, what are you hoping to get out of this closed session today? Same thing we do every day. Get a little bit better. No, so I feel some resentment with that closed remark. It's my fault. Initially, this was going to be a jog-through day, but we changed the schedule earlier this week after family night. Felt like we needed another day to kind of recover, and so we did the walkthrough or the jog-through that day. I want to say, was that Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday. And so we made today more of an up-tempo. Now we're only going to be out there for about an hour and a half. So it's a little bit lighter volume-wise. And then tomorrow we can go back to close to 2 hours.
Who decides what the one-on-one matchups are for like wide receivers and DBs? And do you put Romeo against Jair yesterday for the first time to maybe humble him a little bit after the start he's had?
No, I think, first of all, within our team, we always highlight and we make it a competitive period and show it to the whole group, to the whole team in the team meeting. But no, certainly you want your better players going against one another because that's how they get better. And, I'll tell you what, our DBs, they came to play yesterday. All of them. They looked really good yesterday. And sometimes it just works itself out in terms of who's matching up with who.
Matt, is that something you've always done as far as playing that for the team, or is that something over time that you kind of developed that?
Oh, we've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Yesterday, Jordan's group with the 2-minute offense, and he's moving the ball, and he clocks it, and he gets it all set up, and the results so with the pick from Nixon. What happened on that play? It looks like you can see Jordan's growth in that situation, but what were his options on that last play?
Well, there wasn't many. The ball had to go to the end zone, and there's 5 seconds left, and so you're taking one final heave to the end zone, and he tried to fit it in a really tight window, and our defense did a nice job. Keyshawn stayed home, and the result was the result. But there was a couple other mistakes within that play where guys weren't totally doing the correct assignment, and certainly you need everybody to give yourself the best opportunity to go down and score. But I did think Jordan handled, that 2-minute situation pretty well.
How are you going to tailor the practices this week with, maybe the starters aren't going to play on Friday, so maybe they need to get extra work, but you also need to get those guys who are going to play some extra work. It seems like there's a lot to get done and maybe not a ton of time.
Yeah, that's just one of those things that you try to balance in the preseason, especially game week. So tomorrow we'll have, I would say, a pretty normal practice. And then we'll dismiss the guys that aren't playing a little bit early, get them out of here, and then we'll have an install for the Niners in a evening walkthrough to allow those guys that are playing, give them the best chance to go out there and have success.
Are you doing more stuff in the team periods now that's like less scripted now that you're out of the install part of it? Are you seeing more of like the natural reaction of guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see even more of that today. I think we have one scripted period, and then, I take that back. 2 of the 4 periods are scripted. One of them is more of a situational deal, but we'll have 2 unscripted periods. And I do think it's definitely more difficult this time of the year because you have such a massive playbook that is open on both sides of the ball, and you're not always quite sure. We try to preview it with our guys as best as possible, but you're not always quite sure what's going to come. And so it kind of keeps the guys on their toes a little bit. It gets definitely more dialed in during a game week when you have just, exactly what you're going to do out of the exact formations. So I think this time of the year is always the most challenging for especially our younger players.
And Matt, what do you thought about Jaron and just kind of what he's given you guys so far out of the gate, with the first week of pads?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. He definitely has shown up both in the run and the pass. You can't have enough pass rushers in this league. And I think right now you're seeing just the cumulative effect of our front has been doing a really nice job, really in each group, whether it's the 1s or the 2s. So they've done a nice job. I think J-Mo and Rebs have done a great job. We seem pretty coordinated up front, and hopefully that'll be a big benefit come season.
Matt, in an ideal world, how many receivers would you like to end up carrying?
Every year's a little bit different. You're trying to get me to tip our hand and how many we're going to try to keep?
12.
Yeah, I mean every year's different. It just you want to keep your best players. I say regardless of position, but sometimes the more depth you have, the bigger of a challenge that is. So I think it's a very competitive situation right now with our receiving core, and looking forward to getting into these preseason games to watch that kind of play out.
Those guys in like the 6, 7, 8 spots, what can they do to sort of separate themselves from each other?
I think it's going to be how they go out there and play, the effort that they play with, their contribution on special teams certainly is going to play a big factor. And then just, going out there, focusing, doing their 111th and making plays.
Grades get spiked in preseason performances more than a practice film would?
Well, I think, you don't want to discount the practice tape, but I think just it's a little bit human nature to how they perform, kind of when the lights are truly on, when it's a competitive situation. I think there might be a little bit more value to that, but you can't discount what they've done over and what we've seen on a daily basis.
Going back to Wes's D-line question, for quite a while it's been Kenny and Dean up front. There's been a smattering of contributions here and there, but now that you've got Jaron, TJ still seems like he's really taking a big step, and you got Devonta at 5 deep. What does that do for you guys to have such a deep rotation there?
Well, I think it allows you to roll those guys, and I think just from an offensive perspective, it's much more difficult when you have a fresh D line coming at you, play after play after play, and I think our guys are doing a great job, giving great effort on every play you see. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I've noticed it, a noticeable difference in just how we finish on the ball carrier. You're seeing all guys, whether you're, on the back side of the play, front side, wherever you are, linebacker, DB, defensive lineman, they are running to the football. And I think, hopefully great things happen when you do run, and, you kind of, I love how Rich phrases roll call to the ball. You get all the bodies in the picture, and if you get 11 guys finishing at the ball, I think good things are bound to happen.
So, man, when you go into a game like Friday, do you want to load up Jordan with a lot of the things that, maybe Aaron would do in a game to try to push him like that, or does that screw everything up for everybody else because you got so many young guys who probably aren't in tune with a lot of the changes and calls and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because first of all, you want to put your players in the best possible position to go out there and have success. Yet you're not spending a ton of time game planning. You're kind of going through, and obviously we've got a lot of familiarity with each other, having played so many times over the last couple of years. But I think that it is a little bit of a balance of how much do you really want to show, how complex do you want to get, because you want those guys ultimately to go out there and play fast. And so that is always, I think, the balance from a coaching standpoint is how much do you truly put in. Certainly gave the quarterbacks a preliminary sheet just to look over and make sure they're comfortable with everything that we're going to ask them to do. And then if, we're always receptive to if there's something that they really like, to potentially put that in as well. So we'll give our guys probably tomorrow the final call sheet.
Matt, we saw Aaron get after Josh pretty good yesterday, and Josh mentioned it in the locker room that it was over communicating the protection call. Is that specific? You've got Aaron Rodgers kind of problem, because I would think over communication would be a good thing, but it didn't seem.
Yeah, it just depends what you're communicating. Because sometimes these guys are smart on both sides of the ball, and sometimes the more you communicate, the more information the other side has. So that is, again, it's a fine line. of when you do it, when you don't do it. Certainly, if you don't have everybody on the same page, you don't have any chance whatsoever. So I would say that in most instances, I would rather them over communicate than not. But again, it's just one of those things that you go through each and every day. There's going to be plays like that.
What has been the most surprising part for you in the progression of Josh Nyman, being an undrafted guy to now one of the most experienced on the line?
Yeah, I just think going out there last year and playing at a high level, he was pretty consistent, and he's grown a lot since when we first got here, and that's a great credit to everybody in that room, with Steno and Butkus and just the veteran offensive lineman taking him under his wing. And you can see the talent right when he got here. There's not too many guys that are that big, that are that athletic, that can run like he can. And it's just, a lot of it, his growth has been between the years and just making sure you know what to do so you can use that athleticism to your benefit.
Are you any closer to figuring out who your right tackle would be if Josh has to play left tackle this year?
No, we're not. Not right now. So we're hoping that'll kind of sort itself out over the next couple weeks.
Were you kind of hoping to be there at this point, or do you expect that to go usually to the end?
Come on, Stu. No expectations, man.
Thank you.
There you go. That is Matt LaFleur, head coach of your Green Bay Packers. And just there on the tail end of that, he basically said, no, we don't have anything nailed down if Josh has to move around on that offensive line. So when it comes to that tackle position, right now it's a mix. It's a mix. Which is the one thing that Mike Clemens has stated. We talked with Rob Reichel last week. It's, we saw Aaron Rodgers on Family Night, who had more than a few pressures because that defense is ahead of the offense, obviously. So some interesting stuff coming out of Matt LaFleur as they're going to get back at it on the practice field today. We're broadcasting live out here in Sturgis, South Dakota, Pappy Hoyle Campground, right next to Full Throttle Saloon. You can see it off there in the distance. Harley Davidson on site with the free demo rides and such. And they have everything from a barbershop to a tattoo parlor. They've got the pool and such off to my left-hand side that you can, kind of see in the distance right there in the different camera shot. So a lot of things, a lot of activity, a lot of sensory overload going on out here in Sturgis. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Stenny's. Back at it again today, second to national in Walker's Point, Milwaukee's best sports bar, award-winning Bloody Marys, shuttles to all the games, going back down to the Brewers game today. Bucks, Admirals, Marquette, UWM, Packers buses as well. So plenty of things to do down at Stenny's, Milwaukee's best sports bar. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held practice in the rain yesterday here in Green Bay, something they rarely do. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur
Told the guys make sure they got to have the right cleats, and we've got to get used to practicing in some, less than ideal weather.
Rookie wide receiver Romeo Doubs grew up in L.A. and played college ball in Nevada, but says when he got drafted by Green Bay, he knew there would be days like yesterday.
As soon as I got my phone call that I was going to get drafted here, I knew what to expect. I knew the elements. I've watched Green Bay play in playoff games, regular season games, and the elements are different. So it's not a surprise to me.
The defense dominating again in the 11-on-11 team drills. Linebacker Devondre Campbell deflecting an Aaron Rodgers pass that prevented a touchdown, and former Raiders defensive back Keyshawn Nixon intercepted a Jordan Love pass intended for Amari Rodgers in the end zone. Packers safety Adrian Amos.
And I think we've been doing that, getting to the ball, competing with each other. I think that's big, especially us in the DB room, all across the board, because once we get in there to the defensive team room together, we all evaluating each other too, and we holding each other accountable through jokes or whatever. Either way, we holding each other accountable and all trying to make plays.
Matt LaFleur.
Everything's a double-edged sword, right? I think there's been some great moments on both sides of the ball, both in the run game and in the pass game. And ultimately, it comes down to we'll get a better indication of where we are in this next game.
That's Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels.
Welcome back to the program. Glad you're on board today. A beautiful day today here in Sturgis, South Dakota. You got the bike wash going on down below, the pull off in the distance, the Bear Butte, which the Indians claim that if you look at that butte off into the background, it is a woman, a pregnant woman laying down in peace. And you can see the flowing hair and obviously the belly. But when you look at it from a long distance from the actual side of it, it really does. It's pretty interesting mountain area over there. But the Bear Butte is off into the background, and down below is the front entrance to the Pappy Hoyle campground. Interesting things going on in Chicago, in case you did not know, that Roquan Smith, their linebacker, has said, I want out. He wrote this via Twitter and posted this. He said, to the city of Chicago and all the Bears fans worldwide, I have officially requested a trade. Just writing these words is deeply painful. I'm a kid from Macon County, Georgia. When you grow up playing football, you dream of making it to the NFL one day. However, playing the linebacker position, you never imagine getting drafted in the top 10 by Chicago. I'm a homegrown Bear. A dream come true for me to have an opportunity to put on that Bears helmet, wear some of the jerseys that legendary linebackers have, and it's indescribable. Walking these hallways the past 4 years, you can feel the spirit, you can feel the pressure to live up to that timeless history, that great legacy. I dreamed of playing like Wilbur Marshall, Singletary, Briggs, Urlacher, Butkus. Since the day I was drafted, I vowed to play the position on a level that upheld the standard that was set before me, to uphold that respect and honor, and I have. Then here comes page 2. Unfortunately, the new front office regime doesn't value me here. They refuse to negotiate in good faith. Every step of the journey has been take it or leave it. The deal sent to me is one that would be bad for myself and for the entire linebacker market if I signed it. I've been trying to get something done that's fair since April, but their focus has been on trying to take advantage of me. I wanted to be a Bear my entire career, help this team bring back a Super Bowl to the city. However, they have left me no choice than to request a trade that allows me to play for an organization that truly values what I bring to the table. I haven't had that chance to talk to the McCaskey family, and maybe they can salvage this, but as of right now, I don't see a path back to the organization that I truly love. I hope and pray that all of you can understand. I'm deeply sorry it's come to this. Sincerely, Roquan Smith. I give him credit. We'll talk about this when we come back, but I give him credit. I mean, at least he's putting it out there. Now, whether you want to call it PR spin or not, he's laying it out there saying, hey, look, this is the issue. The issue is not me. The issue is the idiots you have running the front office. There you go. There you go. We'll talk a little bit more about this and so much more. Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. We are broadcasting live. We're in Sturgis, South Dakota. We're brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. They are the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, and also the official beer sponsor of our motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 4th. Get registered. Go to FisherHouseWI.org in the events page, and you can see all the details right there. More to come coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Friday is the first preseason game for the Green Bay Packers. They're in San Francisco to take on the 49ers, and Jordan Love will get the nod to start. The quarterback talks on his progress and command of the offense entering his third season.
The more I'm able to get reps and see how plays play out versus defense, versus different looks, you just get more comfortable with it. Kind of not only expect what's going to happen, but you can kind of predict it and kind of know where you're going to go with the ball a little sooner.
The star of training camp, wide receiver Romeo Doubs, is also very excited for Friday's action.
It'll be huge, man. I know I'm an all-around athlete, so, I wouldn't be surprised if I go play flyer or go play punt return, play kickoff return, kickoff. I'm just making sure that my preparation is high up until that point.
Also out of the NFL, the league has made a statement that Aaron Rodgers' use of the hallucinogenic drink ayahuasca during an offseason retreat is not considered a violation of the NFL's drug policy. NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy said it wouldn't have triggered a positive test result on either the substance abuse or performance-enhancing substance policies collectively bargained by the NFL and its Players Association.
Rural Mutual Insurance. Keeping Wisconsin strong.
All business owners want the same thing, to make their business succeed. At Rural Mutual, they help that happen. As the third largest writer of commercial business in Wisconsin, they take the time to learn your business so they can properly protect you. Call your local agent today or visit ruralmutual.com.
Rural Mutual Insurance. Keeping Wisconsin strong.
The Milwaukee Brewers currently sit 2 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals for first place in the NL Central. They had last night off and are back in action tonight when they welcome in the Tampa Bay Rays for a 2-game series. First pitch tonight is at 7:10 from American Family Field. And finally, Wisconsin football is in fall camp. Their first game will be September 3rd at Camp Randall against Illinois State. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
The Bill Michaels Show, we are on the air. We are here in Sturgis, South Dakota. Pappy Hoyle Campground, full throttle off in the distance. A lot of activity today and really all throughout the rest of the week. We're on the air out here again tomorrow and then off on Thursday and Friday. But it's busy out here. Big time busy out here. Roquan Smith of the Chicago Bears put out a statement basically saying, look, I love the Bears. I love everything about this place. But they're not dealing with me in good faith. And they keep giving me take it or leave it deals. So I'm going to leave it. And I want out. So he's requesting a trade. And he was very honest about it. So, Ben, did you read all of that? Did you read the statement, by the way?
Yeah.
Did you appreciate it?
I mean, yeah, I did. It's one of those situations where they're a horribly run franchise, at least at this point. They're not helping their quarterback. I tend to take his side because we've seen the history, right, of how their front office has managed the team. So I appreciated that he put it out there, because usually if you just see a player wants a trade, it could be so many different things. So him at least going slightly directly through Ian Rappaport to the people, I liked.
I like the fact that he put it out himself. And now, I don't know if he wrote it, but if you've ever met Roquan Smith and talked to him and listened to him, he's actually a pretty smart guy. This sounds like this sounds like there's feeling in it, not just a PR statement. I mean, I could be wrong. Who knows? But it sounds like he's putting his heart and soul into this thing, saying, hey, look, I hope you understand this, but I don't want to be here. They don't want to talk to me. They're not dealing with me. I'm at my wit's end, so I'm just requesting a trade, and I think you deserve an explanation as to why. I think it's a brilliant move. It's very genuine. It's very honest. Obviously, we take a little bit of a smile to it because it affects the Bears in a very negative light, and anytime that happens, we tend to enjoy it as Packers fans. But yeah, I think to say I wanted to be a Bear for my entire career, and to say, I haven't had a chance to talk to the McCaskey family, maybe they can salvage this. That's kind of a backhanded plea to say, hey, if you want to keep me around, maybe you should come down out of the ivory tower and make this happen. But beyond that, no, it's pretty much a done deal where Roquan Smith just doesn't want to be there anymore. So they don't have harmony right now, if you will, down in Chicago, and they're still trying to piece together.
We're going to take the North and never give it back.
There you go. I don't know how they're going to do it, but okay. Take that North. Take it. Maybe just the word the North, but beyond that, I don't think you're going to win the division anytime soon. And we already stated that the argument was to be made. They ranked the offensive line of the Chicago Bears 32nd. And when the question popped up that said, why did you rank them 32nd? What put them down there so far? And the answer was, well, because there's only 32 teams and we couldn't make them 33rd, which also made me smile a little bit. But Roquan Smith demanding a trade from the Chicago Bears. I had a question here. Excuse me. More of a statement, actually, from Casey. He said, the Big Ten loaded in overhype. They are still light years behind the SEC. They're better than the other conferences, so it's not terrible, but I'm sick of the Big Ten. So good as they hit competition, they get destroyed. Or they're so good, and then they hit competition, and then they get destroyed. Earn it, then pat yourself on the back. First of all, they're only patting themselves on the back not because they won anything, but because they're getting paid. So there's a difference. Nobody's claiming that they're the champions. What they're claiming is that we've got $1.25 billion, and they have the right to do that. But secondly, when you look at the history, the SEC it's a really staunch conference. So is the Big Ten. But both conferences are loaded at the top. If you take away Ohio State, you take away Alabama, things really begin to kind of even out. So you can say as much as you want about SEC and Big Ten and start to argue on both sides. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at this, the SEC holds an 89-62-2 advantage against the Big Ten. Now, in bowl games, the SEC 51-30. The two most high-profile games the conferences have played were back 2006, 2007, really, in the national championship game. Ohio State took back-to-back blowout losses, Florida State and FSU. But in the grand scheme of things, when you start to look at the SEC and the Big Ten, the SEC has been dominated because of Alabama and Nick Saban, and rightfully so. It's a hell of a program, man. A hell of a program. And the Ohio State has bolstered and buoyed the Big Ten for a long period of time. But you remove those two teams, and things become quite even. So to kind of in a backhanded way say that, the Big Ten's really not there. No, you're only as good as how deep you are. Remember that. It's not just about the team that wins at the top. It's about the teams that win all the way through the base and the bottom. And they've been pretty good in that sense. 877-867-1670. You can hit us up. This is, John says, as much butt kissing that the GM in Chicago has gotten. He's been having a miserable start. Upstart staff and players, questionable moves, clearly a lack of trust in the field as well. Butt kissing from the media. I think what they're doing is they're giving them you can't argue results because you don't have any. They had an off season, if you will, the Bears did, of police blotter stuff. They had an off season of guys that are not content with being there. They've had an off season, obviously, of change, installing a new regime. That's gonna happen. I don't knock them for that. I really don't. I don't knock the Bears because they're going through change. It takes a while to make change happen and to instill all of that. When the results begin to become critical is when you're getting wins and losses, and whether or not they're ugly wins and losses, and the reason you're going through wins and losses. If you're going through wins and losses because the previous regime did not draft enough players, enough help, enough quality guys to make you a good football team, well, that's on them. That's not on you. You can only do so much with what you've got to work with, okay? But if you've got a team that's losing games because of stupidity, mental ineptness, what have you, well, then you're looking at, from the top down, from the general manager to the head coach, to the assistant coaches, the coordinators, then you're looking at more of a mental thing, and that falls then on the coaching staff and the front office and all of that, all the above. So I think right now the reason you want to call it butt kissing, if you will, it's more so that you don't have the results yet. So all you have to go on is what they've done. It's not necessarily. I mean, this is obviously not a good look for them, for what Roquan Smith wants, to say, I want out. They're not dealing in good faith. They're not talking to me. They don't value me, which at some point you're expecting management. You're going to get some kind of a press conference with the head coach today, tomorrow, what have you, where he's going to have to address that. But now you got to wait for the general manager to address it as well, because the head coach is going to say, look, I don't get involved in negotiations. I know I value Roquan Smith, and that's the positive, proper thing to say. But the reason they're getting the butt kissing right now is because they don't have results. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Darren says last year the Big Ten and SEC were 3-3 against each other in football. So not destroyed. There you go. Just an FYI. Since the conferences started, here's the problem. You can go back to when conferences start. Yeah, you can look at that. You can look at the dominance of Bear Bryant. You can look at the dominance of Woody Hayes. You can look at the dominance of Bo Schembechler. You can look at the dominance of Earl Bruce. You can go to Nick Saban. You can look at all the different coaches that have gone through and been top programs. But again, I don't necessarily look at just the top program. I look at the depth of, if you're comparing conferences, otherwise compare teams. Don't be a dumbass. Compare the teams. If you want to say Alabama versus other teams, okay, Nick Saban's been dominant. If you want to look conference to conference, then you don't just talk about the championships or about the teams that have won. What you talk about is top to bottom, head to head, what the record is going against one another. The SEC's been more dominant. I'll give you that. But in recent history, it's been more even. Not just the high-profile games, which is what you tend to go to. That's fine if that's what you want to do, but then talk about teams, don't talk about conferences. You know what I'm saying? 877-867-1670. Hit us up. You feel free to go ahead and do so again. 877-867-1670. This one's from our buddy Mark. Mark says, hey, Bill, great show. Love the views out there in Sturgis. Kind of a little cold here back in Milwaukee. He says, what do you think of the Brewers coming up tonight? Do they come out with hair on fire, or do you think they come out and lay down and the season continues to be frittered away? That's from Mark, listening to us in Milwaukee. I got to think, and this is just me, okay? I got to think, baseball's different because baseball, you're only as good as that day's starting pitcher. Baseball is not an energizing, unless, of course, you're you're at the plate, okay? And you got one guy, base knock, another guy, base knock, another guy, home run, and all of a sudden it begins to snowball. Okay, you're getting into the head of the opposing pitcher. You can kind of feel tightness. Okay, that is an energy side of the game. But in baseball, it's an individual sport until the ball's put in play, then it becomes a team sport. So it's very hard. Like basketball, you can go out and go, let's go. And you can start setting hard picks. You can do certain things. You can do physicality stuff. Same thing in football. There's an energy to it, where you just start to feel it. You're going to grind on the guy. You're one opponent across from you. You're going to go kick his ass. That's an energy sport. Baseball's not that. Baseball, you can get momentum and things begin to click and you can start to feel it. And when it's something you cannot grasp onto. It's what, sabermetrics people hate. And when you talk about playing in the zone, you start to feel it and the ball looks a little bigger. It breaks a little slower. It seems to slow down a little bit. Balls tend to hop your way, instead of those things that kind of scoot underneath the tip of your glove. Now they hop up. You're getting them. You're being able to throw over to first. You're creating double plays. Defensively, you're making good moves. You're playing smart baseball. It just becomes more fundamental in that sense. So I'm not going to say that you can take your hair on fire energy for baseball. You know what I mean? That's no. You just hope they get a win. And then when they get a win, you hope that the next day they stack another win on top of that. That's all. You can't, baseball's just a different animal. It just is. And I know you can have energy and feel it when teams start to play well. And you can feed off of that a little bit. But for the most part, it's an individual sport until the ball's put in play. And then it becomes the team sport. 877-867-1670. Find us. Love to hear from you. I got another one here. This is from Jason. Jason, by the way, Jason listening to us out in Madison, in Fitchburg, as a matter of fact. Jason says, hey, Bill, I wanted to ask you about the Big Ten. If they're getting $1.25 billion, how much is that going to come down to each team? We talked about, well, do the math. If you got 12 teams, it's, $120 million. You got 14 teams, you break it down a little bit less for per team. But, I don't know what the actual check is going to be. But it's going to be a lot of money. Going to be up around $100 million a team. Not a bad way to go. Which is a lot more than a lot of the two conferences that are going to be the moneymakers are the SEC and the Big Ten. That's it. And now, your follow-up question is, so what portion of that money then gets put aside for stadium renovation, for academics, and for other things within the UW system? I don't know how they allocate that money. Now, first of all, when it comes to the athletic side of things, it goes to the athletic department. That's not academics. What the academics, as far as I understand, I could be wrong on this. Ben, you correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you've done more on this than I have. But when you get that check cut to you from the Big Ten, that goes back to the athletic department, of which then it's reinvested back in to all the sports, not just football, but all the sports. So the football is the lion's share, but all the sports benefit, whether it's through facilities, uniforms, travel, whatever it happens to be, whatever it costs you to run your athletic department, that money gets put back into the athletic department, and then additional money gets set aside for future projects. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, right?
Yeah, correct. On travel and,
yeah,
stadium renovation, all that stuff.
So, and then you get to go play games and specialty things like the game at, American Family Field, and floors and courts are going to be built for that, and traveling over to France for, European, preseason basketball and such. And all of that then begins to trickle in as far as what you can do with your athletic department. I don't think any of that money goes to academia. The one thing that you can say regarding it to academics is that it's the recognition, the bombardment of Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, that people are witnessing. So prospective students that are sitting in high school, that are sitting in grade school, they grow up a Badger fan living in Texas, or they grow up a Badger fan right here in the backyard. Rather than going to Michigan or Ohio State or someplace else, they want to stay in Wisconsin. So it's your prevalence that makes people want to go to those particular schools. The more you see them, the more you witness them, the more you understand them. And that then opens up your mind to at least entertain the thought of going to that particular school for whatever it is, your field of study would be. That's the way I've always understood it. I could be a little bit off on that, but I think that that's pretty much the way it is. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show live out here in Sturgis, South Dakota. We'll be back after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Mountain Dew Pull Tab Game is your chance to win an adventure-ready Winnebago Revel from Quick Trip. Go off-road and off-grid with a fully equipped Winnebago Revel by playing in your Quick Rewards app. Earn extra plays by purchasing participating Mountain Dew Energy, Bubbler, Muscle Milk, or Evolve beverages with Quick Rewards. Adventure begins where the pavement ends with Quick Trip and Mountain Dew. Download the Quick Rewards app today. No purchase necessary. See QuickTrip.com/sweepstakes for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Completely agree with that. Baseball is about momentum. You can't, like I'd mentioned before, when it comes to the ability to have, to have energy. Baseball is about the ability to, probably momentum is the best way to put it, John. You're right. It's not an energy. You can't come out and like in basketball and just give more effort and run harder and faster, and because you just go out and stand in your position until the ball is hitting your direction. You can do something about it when it comes to smarts and the approach when it comes to pitches and such as a hitter, but you're right. It's more about momentum than anything else. You're 100% correct. This is Jacob who says the Big Ten going up to 16 teams once you get USC and UCLA, and the money is going to be plentiful for everybody. You bring in Notre Dame, it's even going to be more so, and then they're going to bring in one more team, and I would assume at that point that they call it quits. A conference of 18 teams will be huge. He says, do you think they keep it in 2 parts, or do they split it into 4 parts? Well, Ben, from what we understand, they're not going to split it at all. Right? They want to get rid of the divisions in the Big Ten, correct?
That's where they're likely headed, and more for the purpose. I talk about the playoff a lot, but that's all that it's about. The Pac-12 took away divisions because they weren't always getting the best 2 teams into that conference title game.
Right.
So that's the purpose behind it. Once they get to 16 and 20 teams, I have no clue what they're going to do. They're going to have to do divisions, right?
You would assume.
Once you get a conference of 20, then you can't play regularly everybody else.
Right.
But I don't know what the divisions will look like then.
Yeah, you would assume you'd probably split it up. But unless, of course, you go to 4 divisions. God, I can't imagine this. 4 divisions of 5. And then you win your division, and then you have your 14 playoff. Or I don't know how you would do that. I think they I think what you do is you take your top 4 teams out of your conference. Just take the top 4 teams. And those 4 teams then have kind of a, conference tiebreakers or something like that, or a conference game or a conference championship, if indeed you even do that. And then you would put them into I understand what the conference is trying to do, because what they want is the best team out of each conference to go head to head with the other best team out of their conference for the championship, to garner the pride of saying we've won the championship. That's ultimately what they're going for. You don't want a team that was, say, mid-tier but won their division that would be ranked 10th in your own conference, but they won the division, to play and possibly upset a team that would be, say, number 1 or number 2, and thus putting a lesser team into a championship. And I understand that's what they're trying to do.
Well, and most importantly, when you make the college football playoff, your conference gets a lot of money. So if you have a conference champion or whatever that doesn't have the resume to make the playoff, then you're just losing out.
Right.
So it's all about how many teams can we put in the playoff, because it brings all the money back to us.
Right. Yeah. And again, we should always know it's always about the money. Without a doubt, it's always about the money. 877-867-1670. You can find us, hit us up. Coming up here in about a half an hour, Wayne Larry, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, is going to be joining us. About an hour from now, Jesse James Dupree from the band Jackal is going to be here a little bit later on as well. About an hour from now, as a matter of fact. This is from Bernard, who says, Bill Michaels, not going to lie, hanging the younger players like Rashawn Gary and Jair really stepping up into the leadership roles is really exciting. Have you heard any of the younger players on the offensive line specifically, or special teams, stepping up in those same kinds of light? There's not a whole lot of guys that they're wildly praising as of yet, but when it comes to you're going to get more of it once they get into live action, put it that way. There's guys that have, obviously Romeo Doubs has, opened a lot of eyes, and people are talking about him in camp. Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, they're getting their fair share of looks and nods. I can't argue with that. You start to look at some of the guys depth-wise, defensively speaking. Nobody is like jumping off the page, but what you're going to start to get once you see these guys in live action. Go back to a couple of years ago when Ty Summers played so incredibly well at linebacker, he was sideline to sideline. He was all over the place. Now, granted, when he finally got the opportunity to be an everyday linebacker because of injury, he didn't really fill the bill. But you did recognize him as one of the better special teams gunners, one of the better special teams tacklers with aggressiveness. So that you understood. So I think you're going to start to see guys like that emerge. You just don't see a ton of it because there is so much mix and match right now. Because right now, what they're trying to do is, specifically on the offensive line, is move guys around and say who can and can't play left, right, who's got technique, who's got athletic ability, who's got good footwork, who's got good speed, who's got good strength with their hands out in front of them, the arm length, all that kind of stuff, who's getting pushed around, who's crossing their feet, who's not. That's all you're looking for right now. Once you get into game action and they move these guys around, and what you've taught them then becomes evident on the field, and whether or not they respect it, they understand it, they continue to execute it, or they just revert back to bad habits. You can't break them of bad habits. They just don't seem to get it. They don't seem to have it. That's when you're going to start to find out who's excelling and who's not. Does that make sense? Because anytime I've talked to a coach coming out of training camp, you always hear the same thing. Boy, this guy's got a lot of speed. This guy runs really well. This guy's really fast. And then you hear, he doesn't have the best technique. He's really raw. Raw means he's got a ton of talent, but he's not realizing it. Raw is a bad word. So when they say, yeah, he's got a lot of raw talent, raw can be meaning you got a ton of potential, dude. But if you don't ever realize that potential, then it's a really ugly word. It's a bad word that's attached to you. It means you got a ton of talent, but you're not finding it. You got great strength, but you don't have the ability to get leverage. You've got good speed, but you don't have good quickness. There's a lot of things there to nosh on. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Live in Sturgis, South Dakota, it's the Bill Michaels Show. Brought to you by our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Look for the biggest, baddest party coming up Labor Day weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Go to wishd.com for the entire lineup. wishd.com. Glad to have you back. Welcome back to the program. So what training camp news do we have, Ben? What's going on up at Packers training camp that you've got some breaking news?
So there's some notes here and there. None of it warrants the breaking news sounder. First of all, in a very lighthearted tone, Rich Bisaccia strapped some gloves on. He is out there as the long snapper for whatever punt drills they're doing. So if I want to overreact to that, I think he is bringing the necessary grit. Plus, as you tweeted out, what was the saying he said or LaFleur said during the presser?
He's roll call to the ball. Roll call to the ball.
Oh,
that's what he's calling. Roll call to the ball. I like it. Basically, he wants everybody by the ball. When the ball carrier is in, when you're in pursuit of the ball carrier, it's roll call to the ball. Who's there? And he's keeping track of who's being near the ball and how many points you get and all that kind of stuff. And coaches do that. They start to show who the points leaders are for getting near the ball or who their blocks are. And it's kind of like when, you see, like Buckeyes on the side of the helmet or, the Tomahawks on the side of the helmet for Florida State or what have you. They give you points inside those locker rooms. It means something when you got roll call to the ball, man.
Yeah, the Buckeyes on the helmet, whatever. So I love the Bisaccia thing. Hopefully he can, block a nose tackle better than they did in the playoffs last season.
Right. Mason
Crosby is out on the field kicking soccer balls. I don't know exactly what that does, but he's out there doing some work.
Okay.
So that's noteworthy. Rashawn Gary looks great. And the semi-breaking news bit, and I don't know how much news it is because it's all we've heard for the last 2 weeks. Romeo Doubs just absolutely cooked Rasul Douglas in the red zone, caught a touchdown from Jordan Love, and got a fist bump from Matt LaFleur. So the stock is continuing to rise.
Has just been fantastic. Now, I hope, knock on wood, that it all translates to the regular season. But he has been fantastic in camp thus far. He has been a tremendous find. What you got to hope for, and I think if you're a Packers fan, you're all heading to church on Sunday. But what you hope for is that when Christian Watson comes back that he is the deal that they thought he was. Because if Christian Watson proves to be a formidable foe when it comes to receiving, then you really do have something. Then you've got two guys that, while technique might not be great, you got two guys with a huge amount of ability, a large glass ceiling of upside that can probably come on rather quickly with the likes of Sammy Watkins and Alan Lazard. And you start to go through that list, plus the additional weapons they have, whether it's when Robert Tonyan comes back, Mercedes Lewis with possession catches, or the guys coming out of the backfield, both Aaron Jones and also God, his name escapes me. The mayor of, I keep calling him the mayor of Door County, and I'm not calling him by his name.
A.J. Dillon.
A.J. Dillon, thank you very much. So anyway, then they've got weaponry. And it's huge that Romeo Doubs has played this well early on. So at least it gives you confidence, I guess. And the fact that
Go
ahead.
Are you as excited for Friday's game against San Francisco as I am right now? Because there's no Rodgers and there isn't much controversy about, a big position battle that's going to be settled. But I can't wait to watch Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs, the young guys on defense, and even Zach Tom, what the O-line looks like when they get out there.
I am, but as much as I want to see those guys, this is the Jordan Love show. So for what everybody else does, it's almost secondary because this begins the last gasp of Jordan Love. Do you believe in him or do you not? And for all the praise that's been heaped upon him by those that are covering the team, and I trust their opinions, but I've never really seen it consistently. So I am anticipating Jordan Love to be exponentially better. Now, I'm not just talking about hitting a couple of passes. What I'm talking about is give me 2 or 3 or 5 passes that are into a tight window that you anticipated where the carrier, the receiver would be, and you hit them. Don't give me guys running wide open. I mean, that's great if you can lay it in their fingertips. That's awesome. But what I'm anticipating is those throws. And if you give it to me with consistency, then I can say, okay, then the mental side of things is starting to wake up, and the connection between his mind and his arm is becoming one, which is what you want. But let's make no mistake about it. This is all figuring out whether or not Jordan Love actually has it or not. To me, anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that what Isn't that ultimately what we're all hoping for? To see if he actually has it or not?
Oh, that's what it.
Go ahead.
That's what it boils down to. I mean, maybe I'm a crazy person and I haven't watched football in too long, but I feel like entering this week in the preseason, maybe it's because the Rodgers thing is all resolved and there's no craziness there. I'm just excited to watch them get out and play. I feel like we'll actually see stuff from the team in this preseason, maybe compared to others.
Yep. It's going to be different because, our postseason game, our post-game shows begin for the first regular season game this year. So just an FYI for those that are listening on the network. But I'm going to be watching it at a sports bar here in Sturgis, South Dakota. So I'm going to be hanging out watching the Packers on the road in San Francisco. Closer to San Francisco, by the way, I think, than to Milwaukee. But nevertheless, going to be hanging out here. And I'll be one of those people that are everybody else will be talking and having fun and drinking, and I'll be the guy that's, watching everything intently. But going to be hanging out here because we leave on Saturday or Sunday, depending on when we want to get out of here as to when we want to come back. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more broadcasting. Don't forget, Wayne Larrabee, voice of the Green Bay Packers, coming up here in about 15 minutes. And we're broadcasting live out here in Sturgis, South Dakota. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at New Mail Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin and beyond the borders. 98% success rate in treating guys with ED. That's a 98% success rate. And all but guaranteeing the fact that they can help you out. They can't guarantee it because nothing's perfect, but they can come close. Doc Tim and the whole staff and the medical experts, by the way, they can help you. So doesn't take anything but a phone call. 414-455-4451. Pick up the phone. Doesn't matter what location it is. 414-455-4451. Now, if you're thinking, man, you're moody, you're sluggish, even in the heat, you're just tired, you run down, you don't want to get out of bed, you don't have the same energy to get up and maybe go to the gym or do your regular workouts or just move and do your job. Could be if you're over the age of 30, it could be low T, low testosterone. Highly recommend you giving them a call there. They can help you out with that as well and give you a little more energy, better rest at night, which then translates into more energy during the day. Or the all-in-one weight loss program, yes, it works. If you're sweating through the summer and you don't know why, because you put on a few extra pounds, a little bit more difficult to get around, call them. 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451. That is the New Mail Medical Center. Again, 414-455-4451. Wayne Larrabee, about 15 minutes away. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show live out here in Sturgis coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others, time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers will practice in pads getting ready for Friday night's road game against the San Francisco 49ers. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur asked if Jordan Love will start at quarterback instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, he will.
Rookie receiver Romeo Doubs says he's looking forward to his first NFL game. Does he feel in sync with Jordan Love?
Oh, yeah. I'm really in sync with Jordan. It's the first preseason game. I'm excited, as well as all the other rookie receivers, Samori. It'll be exciting, man. I can't wait for it.
The Packers' third-string quarterback is Danny Etling, who played for the LSU Tigers, spent some time with the Patriots and Falcons. Does he know how much playing time he'll get Friday night against the 49ers?
I'm not sure yet. I've been taking it day by day, so focusing on the next practice and getting ready for those opportunities in the game. But, for now, I'm focused on getting, this film corrected and then having a good day tomorrow and then continuing to grow as camp goes.
The Packers posted their first depth chart with David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins still out. Their starting offensive tackles for now are Yosh Nijman and second-year man Royce Newman. Matt LaFleur.
We haven't even played a preseason game yet, so I think you could argue every position up front is open for battle.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
We are live. We're in Sturgis, South Dakota. We are live from Pappy Hoyle Campground, right next to the Full Throttle, Loving Life. You're watching over on the Bud Light live stream, motorcycles flying in and out of this place, and it is coming to life as the day continues on. Hot today. Hot. And if you are here, if you're listening to us, by the way, we've had a lot of people from Wisconsin, the surrounding areas, Illinois, Minnesota, people from Michigan, Iowa that listen to the program that have all come by and said hello, and we certainly appreciate it. I want to say hi to Margaret and Steve, who are both from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and in that area, but they're Packers fans, and they wanted to come by and say hello. I want to say hi to John. John came by a little while ago, and he listens to us down in Whitewater. Also, Anthony says hi to us as well. So I want to say hi to everybody. Hey, if you're out here and you're out and about and you're hanging out, there's a great place downtown, Big Al's Swap Shop. And inside that place, they've got some amazing stuff from Sound Art USA, my buddy Steve Ventry, and that whole staff. They take care of you. Great canvas prints and sound and quality and such. And also across the street is the Stinger Bar and Jawbone and Art and everybody over there are great people. You go in and mention our name, and you'll get something. Maybe it's a hug, maybe it's a beer, who knows? But go in and mention our name. Great people over there at both places. Good stuff. We go now north to Green Bay. Our good buddy Mike Clemens on the ground up there at Packers training camp. Michael, how you doing, pal?
Good. Scrimmage, 11-on-11, still going on right now. Now Danny Etling, the QB3, is running the offense, and they're trying to get through the playbook and maybe some of the plays that they'll be called on Friday night out in California against the 49ers.
So one of the questions that I had earlier, Mike, that was asked to me, and I'll ask it to you, other than obviously Romeo Doubs, who's been so good and has made so many plays and opened so many eyes, of the young guys in camp, who's kind of stood out to you, if anybody?
Well, yeah, I talked about the Zach Tom kid on the offensive line because when you look at the wide receiver group, they got a lot of choices. They lost this huge guy in Devontae Adams, but they've got to get an offensive line together. And so Zach Tom, a fourth-round pick out of Wake Forest, by day 2, I couldn't believe how good his footwork was. They were not only running him at right tackle, but at left tackle, and he was doing pretty good against Rashawn Gary. Problem is he's a little bit undersized at 6'4". So I think that maybe they tried to put a little scare into Royce Newman. They were also trying Cole Van Lanen. But last night they put out a depth chart, and yesterday morning's practice in the rain, Bill, they had a little bit of a different lineup on the offensive line. I thought, yeah, see, at the end of the day, NFL coaches go with experience. So Zach Tom drops back to the number 2 offense. And right now, the starting offense, if they had to play the Vikings this weekend, as opposed to September 11th, it would be Yosh Nijman, the left tackle. It would be John Runyon, the left guard. Josh Myers, of course, at center. And they moved Jake Hansen from backup center to right guard. That was a key move. And Royce Newman goes from right guard last year out to right tackle. And I think that that's the first-team offensive line to beat between now and Vikings and whenever they get Bakhtiari or maybe later Elton Jenkins back for the 2 tackles.
That was going to be my next question. I know Bakhtiari's been working out on the sidelines and such. Is there any indication that he's any closer to being ready to go, or at least to getting involved in training camp?
None. I talked to him yesterday briefly, just kind of hanging out. But, you just can't tell from the mild workouts that he's doing as opposed to, a year ago at this time, like I've said, he would be out here with a harness 6 months after the injury and pulling and doing all kinds of, strenuous exercising. And we know how that turned out. He's just doing mild get off his stance kinds of things. And whatever they do otherwise to conditioning him and to testing him, that's behind closed doors. So, I mean, maybe he could be ready in September or October. Maybe it's longer than that. It's between him and the trainers right now.
I was just going to say, is this now gone from concerning to, like, really alarming?
Well, it was really alarming when he talked about how bad it was before he had the 3rd surgery this spring in the drain. So, until you see him put some pads on and them testing, because, Bill, that's what, again, this is something else they did last season. They would test him for a day or two, and he would participate in half a practice, but then the thing would swell up, as we learned later, and he'd have to sit out for another 2 weeks before he touched the field. So they're keeping it close to the vest. He's trying to keep, a positive attitude, but, he ain't talking officially to the media, so it's wait and see.
Hey, real quick before I let you go, Rich Bisaccia throwing the long snapper gloves on today and throwing a few. Is he just a guy with his, as they say, hair on fire, trying to rally the troops for a better special teams unit?
Do you know any long snappers, Bill? Because I think he might be in the market for one.
Really? Okay.
I think he's sick and tired. Yeah, I think he's sick and tired of the Steven Wirtel kid. He was the one that was on the infamous blocked punt against the 49ers. They've got another kid out here that they're trying out, and they don't like the consistency. Or Pat O'Donnell, the punter, is complaining about it as well. But, at one point, the special teams coordinator said, this is what I want, and put on the gloves and started snapping between his legs. So,
wow.
Yeah, we're down to that.
So when Steven Wirtel and Jack Coco can't get the job done, and those are the only 2 long snappers you have in the squad, you start to scratch your head and go, what the hell? Man, oh, man. Mike, great stuff as always, buddy.
Thank you, Bill.
See you, pal. There you go. That's Mike Clemens. I should have let him get his last thought in there real quick. I know we're up against it, but Steven Wirtel not getting it done and not drawing praise from one Rich Bisaccia. Jack Coco, the other guy, stepping in. They're scratching their heads on long snappers. Hasn't necessarily been great when it comes to special teams in the recent history for the Green Bay Packers, as we all know. And it all starts with that guy. And even as he just said, Pat O'Donnell, the placeholder's complaining about it to a certain extent. Oh, man. Stay tuned. Coming up, Wayne Larrabee, voice of the Green Bay Packers, next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Friday is the first preseason game for the Green Bay Packers. They're in San Francisco to take on the 49ers, and Jordan Love will get the nod to start. Wide receiver Romeo Doubs, who has been the star of training camp, is excited to get his first action with Jordan Love under center.
Oh, yeah. I'm really in sync with Jordan. It's the first preseason game. I'm excited, as well as all the other rookie receivers, Samori, Christian. It'll be exciting, man. I can't wait for it.
With Friday's action against the Niners approaching, head coach Matt LaFleur was asked if he'll have to be careful with his quarterbacks, as his offensive line is not quite where he wants it.
Absolutely, we would. I mean, we still have confidence in those guys. Those guys are going to have to play, and we would just be very particular about what plays we're calling. We're not going to have just open edges and 7-step drops that take a long time to develop. So we'll just be super intentional about what we call.
Also, the NFL has announced that Aaron Rodgers' use of the hallucinogenic drink ayahuasca during an offseason retreat is not considered a violation of the NFL's drug policy, and he will not be suspended.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
The Milwaukee Brewers currently sit 2 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals for first place in the NL Central. They had last night off and are back in action tonight when they welcome in the Tampa Bay Rays for a 2-game series. First pitch tonight is at 7:10 from American Family Field. And finally, Wisconsin football is in fall camp. Their first game will be September 3rd at Camp Randall against Illinois State. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
We are live. We're in Sturgis, South Dakota. Coming up tomorrow, Bill Davidson of Harley and Davidson. Young man under Willie G. Going to be inducted into the Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Jackal, their 30th anniversary show coming up on Thursday night. Friday night, we're all going to be paying attention to the Packers and the 49ers as they kick off the preseason. Good stuff there. We now go back to Green Bay, and we talk to our friend, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Larravee's on the line. Wayne, how you doing, pal?
Good. How you doing, Bill? Where are you at?
In Sturgis, South Dakota, where it is 91 degrees and hot, humid.
Wow.
Yeah. For the motorcycle rally that's out here.
You get around.
Yeah, it's a sleepy little town of about 3,000 people that turns into 100,000 people in a matter of a week. So kind of crazy out here. But, you know, we know what that's like in Green Bay when you get 100,000 people coming into town to see a Packer game for a day. And a lot of talk and excitement and such, but also some confusion regarding the offensive line. Who's going to be playing where because they don't really know yet. So let's start there, Wayne. What have you seen that you've liked, and what question marks do you have right now for this offensive line?
Well, a lot of question marks. You know, will Bakhtiari be back for the opener? When will Elton Jenkins be back? And if those guys come back, this line has a chance to be really good. But right now, you're looking at really Josh Myers at the center position, John Runyon at left guard. I think that Josh Nyman can hold his own at left tackle. And then the rest of it's kind of a mix and match as far as what we've seen, different combinations every day in practice.
The protection on family night, not the best for Aaron Rodgers, but still, being able to wing the ball to Romeo Doubs and making a few plays and turning a few heads. Offensively speaking, look, Wayne, I've said all along, I don't think the offense is going to be nearly as bad as what some of the national pundits are making it out to be. So give me your synopsis of how you think this offense is going to flow this season.
Well, you know what, Bill? I think a lot of it will depend on can the offensive line solidify itself and perform well early in the season. If not, it's going to be tough because they are trying to work new people at the skill positions. They have the 2 running backs. They have the quarterback, but a lot of it is going to depend on how well the offensive line is able to at least hold its own at the line of scrimmage early in the season, when maybe the lineup I just gave you is what they have to go to Minnesota with.
The wide receiving core, Sammy Watkins, had a few plays, looks okay, but the guy that's opening up all the eyes, Romeo Doubs, and I thought he'd be better in the beginning. You and I talked back at the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing, and you talked about Christian Watson needing to grow into his body. We haven't been able to see that because he hasn't been able to get on the field, but if he becomes anything of what they expect and the progression of Romeo Doubs once we start to really see him in games, maybe this wide receiving core is not going to be the detriment to this team like many predicted to be,
Yeah, Bill, and 2 guys you haven't mentioned, Alan Lazard has looked really good at this camp. He's big and strong and appears to be ready to take over a starting spot as he did a year ago. And then Amari Rodgers is a guy kind of underrated, kind of flying under the radar. But, boy, I tell you what, just watching him, his body language and that type of thing, I think this is a guy that certainly looks to me like he's ready to take that jump.
That was going to be my next question because Amari Rodgers, kind of the forgotten guy that nobody really talks. Lazard, we all know he's become highly acclaimed by Aaron Rodgers. He's a good route runner. There's nothing dynamic there, but he's just been extremely solid. Might be the best adjective to put alongside him. But Amari Rodgers could be an X factor in all of this. And I know you talk about his progression and maybe getting better. They say he looks, then again, it's camp, but he looks better than he ever has in his life. He feels better than he ever has in his life. Does it show on the field? Does he look quicker? Does he look a little faster? Does he jump a little higher?
Yes, he does. All of those things. I think he looks a lot better in this camp than we've seen in the past, last year especially, when it was still kind of figuring it all out. But he's much more confident, though, just the way he's moving out there. And, yes, he's quicker. He looks to me a lot quicker out of the slot. And, I think he is a guy that's ready. We'll see. But I think he is a guy that's going to get some reps in the preseason. And then we'll see if he's ready to make that next jump. They're working him hard, of course, at the return game, punt return. Romeo Doubs is also seeing action as a punt returner. So I think they've got a lot of things at typical camp. They've got a lot of areas they're trying to make decisions on. And part of it will stem from what these guys do in the preseason games, but most of it will stem from what they've done over the course of the whole camp and, that kind of thing. So that evaluation is ongoing.
You talked about the special teams. I want to go back to that. We were hearing Rich Bisaccia and not really happy with what the long snapper is bringing to the table right now, either of them, as a matter of fact, and throwing the gloves on today to try to show guys this is what I want and this is how I want it done on a consistent basis. Is there a genuine concern for the long snapping position on this team? It's not something we talk about a whole lot, but certainly we've seen it becomes very important, and when you don't have a good one.
Yeah, I know it can show up. The best long snappers are the ones you don't even know their name, and you never hear about them during a game. But you're right. When you know who the long snapper is, it's usually because it's not been going well. But I think it'll be interesting to see this. Jack Coco is a very he's arrived here kind of in a circuitous route. He really didn't snap for punts through college. He was a tight end last year at Georgia Tech, and they're giving him a chance, and he's run out there with the first unit on a number of occasions the first couple of weeks of camp. So I think they're trying to see what they've got there, and maybe he can do the job. Who knows? Stephen Wurtel, they know what they have there, and you have to understand with specialists and special teams, they're looking at everybody around the league. So, somebody could come loose that they like, and maybe they give them a shot. But it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But that's, at the moment, that's a position of question that I think will help sort itself out once we get to these preseason games.
Really, since maybe Randall Cobb, Allen Rossum, I go back to those guys, they were consistent returners. Is this team – do they have a consistent returner on this team, Wayne, that you've seen? Or is this, again, going to be just we're going to trials and tribulations all throughout the season?
Well, it's going to be, like I said, we just talked about him. But I think, Amari Rodgers could solve that problem on his own. If not, Romeo Doubs is a guy they're going to look at those positions, both punt and kick returner. So I think those are the guys that you look to that might get a shot. Rico Gafford is another guy who could bring a dynamic dimension to the return game. But the problem is he going to make the team? And so, all of this stuff is to be hashed out. And much of it, when you talk about these preseason games, I mean, obviously it's not about starting unit guys. This is about the guys who are going to make up that bottom third of the roster. And they're going to have to play a big role based on where they are with special teams and some of the backup positions on offense and defense.
Hey, you bring up a good point, more of a thought, but, I know that Matt LaFleur talked about guys and what they've been able to do away from the field when it comes to conditioning, and he was not happy with some of the conditioning that his team had in the family night game or scrimmage, if you want to call it that. So have you noticed a change towards that or a stress point towards that? Because as much as you just talked about it, these guys are trying to not only make a team but get in shape for the regular season, but a lot of these starters aren't even going to play. So is that something that's become an emphasis for Matt LaFleur?
I don't think he's concerned about the starters and about the guys who are penciled in to play a significant role, but he felt some of the younger players that are trying to make the team, they may have been out of gas a little bit toward the end of that family night practice. So that was a little bit of a concern, but, he had a fairly solid practice yesterday. Did a lot of work yesterday. They got a lot of work in today. More of a 90-minute practice, kind of quick practice. So tomorrow they'll go a good couple of hours. Eventually they'll have these guys where they want them in terms of football shape.
Talking with Wayne Larry, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, joining us from Packers training camp. So, Wayne, all eyes are on Jordan Love coming up on Friday night. How is he like? Because I know a lot of people say he looks great, he looks changed, he looks, to me, until he starts throwing into those windows with anticipatory throws and doing it on a dime and in a split second and really getting it between the ears, it doesn't mean a lot. So you tell me what you think you've seen so far out of Jordan Love.
I've seen a guy who's much improved in terms of his footwork, in terms of the confidence, the air he brings about him, in terms of the way he handles the huddle and that type of thing at the line of scrimmage especially. I see a big improvement, but you're right. I mean, we'll have to wait for games. And, there's only so much you can glean from a preseason game, because understand this, he's not going up against a defense that is schemed to stop him. He's not going up against a large number of starters that he would be seeing in the regular season. So it's going to be hard, but at the very least, you want him to play positive football. If he can do that in the preseason, I think they'll be happy.
How will they truly know and again, we don't know what the offseason is going to hold, and it's way too premature to start talking about it, but it's always there. It's lurking. The big giant, ball of death of the end of the career of Aaron Rodgers could come at any point in time if he decides. And you got to know whether or not Jordan Love is the guy. Do you get a sense that they have a confidence in him, or do you think that they are still, after a few years, trying to figure out what he brings to the table?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, probably not a good question for me, but for the general manager, Brian Gutekunst, I think they're still in the process of figuring all that out. But I do think he's giving them a good reason for hope this year, based on the way he looks at camp right now. So I still think he's a guy that they're continuing to evaluate. I think these preseason games, and also when he gets into the practices against New Orleans next week, is a very important week at camp with the Saints coming in. There will be 2 practices between the 2 squads, and that's really what both teams are looking for. That's almost more valuable and important than a preseason game.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about, I know it's tough because you're trying to absorb everything that's going on right here in our own backyard, but I wanted to ask you a little bit. We had Paul Allen on the other day, and they were talking about they're trying to figure out the offensive line, but they feel really confident with their defense and their growth and some of the new guys coming in and the offensive weaponry they have. And some people are surprisingly saying that is going to be the team that's really going to push the Packers for the top spot in the division. Now, we know injuries can always play a role in that, but give me your thoughts on what Minnesota has done and how close maybe you think they may or may not be to unseating the Packers in the NFC North.
Well, they kind of reloaded defensively. The question marks I have on them defensively are not on the defensive front 7, but on the secondary, especially at the cornerback position. Some questions there. I think that offensively they have excellent skill people. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson, you have Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins puts big numbers on the board of the regular season, regardless of what he does in the postseason. But so they're the team. Yeah, I mean, on paper, Bill, at the start of the season, they're the team people are figuring is going to push the Packers in this division. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. But the team I keep hearing about a little bit as I did my research in the last month or so, the Detroit Lions could be a lot better than people are thinking. And, there's always 2 or 3 teams that come in to a season that nobody's talking about, and they have a terrific year. I'm not saying that's going to be Detroit, but they certainly have that feel, that look about them in Dan Campbell's second year.
Hey, real quick before I let you go, the train wreck that is right now going on down in Chicago, Roquan and Smith publicly calling out the front office. They've had their problems in Chicago, and I don't necessarily think they're going to put any pressure on the Packers, but give me your thoughts on the Bears and the direction they're heading right now.
Yeah, you would have liked to have seen them do a little bit more, at least on the offensive line and the offseason and free agency around that young quarterback. I think he's going to get really good tutelage from Luke Getsy down there, and I think that's going to help Justin Fields a lot. But they don't have a lot around him, and they are in transition, and they're kind of where Detroit was about a year ago. So I don't have a good feel that they're going to put any meaningful pressure on the Packers in this division. And, you know, Roquan Smith's their best player, and they know that. And they'll get something done with him because they have to. He's the next great middle linebacker in their defense, and that's what Chicago is known for.
Yep, no doubt. Wayne, great stuff. Get back to a training camp. We always appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you again soon, okay?
All right, sounds good, Bill.
Have a great call Friday night. There you go. The voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Larrivee, joining us for a couple of minutes, and always appreciate his time. Up there at Packers training camp. We're out here in South Dakota, but we make it work. Good stuff. Thanks to him for joining us for a few and giving us his thoughts as the Green Bay Packers go, so to speak. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break, come back. Bottom of the hour, we should be joined up here we'll put it up on the camera as well, but our good friend Jesse James Dupree, the band Jackal, they're going to take the stage on Thursday night. Their 30th anniversary show is coming up. We're going to be a part of it, too. I'm kind of excited about this, but he's going to swing by, and he, along with his partners, own this place and bring us out here and are gracious enough to host us. So thanks to him for allowing us to be a part of it, but more so for being a part of the show coming up on Thursday night before a sold-out crowd over at Full Throttle. I don't even know how many people that place holds. It's beyond thousands. I want to say maybe 10,000, 8,000, something like that. I mean, you can squeeze a ton of people back there. I have no idea, but maybe I'm way off on my estimate. I don't know. But I know that last night it was thousands of people that were over there. And they had Tesla. They've had Molly Hatchet. They've had numerous big bands. They got more coming in. But the big show is coming up on Thursday night as Jackal takes the stage. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. More out here in Sturgis, South Dakota, coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes.
It's a good place to podcast.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We are broadcasting live. We are here in Sturgis, South Dakota. For all of you on the network, we certainly appreciate you taking a listen to us. And for those of you watching on the Bud Light live stream here as well, you get a good view of what's just out in front of us. Beautiful view here at Pappy Hoyle Campground. And joining us here is our good friend and lead singer of the band Jackal, an entrepreneur, and Jesse James Bourbons, and I can go on and on, but it would take up the entire segment. How you been, man?
Bill Michaels in the house.
How you doing?
Bill Michaels does the Black Hills.
I love this place.
Now that you're here, let's take a selfie together. There we go. You got your video camera going there.
Yeah, you're going. People are seeing you too.
This.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody.
There you go. How you been?
I'm doing great, man. We were just talking. How many listeners you got now dialing in on?
When you start dialing everybody in throughout the states, I don't know, 8 million we can cover, and
we've got 600 acres out here of Off the Hook. We got the Olympic-sized swimming pool. We got the full throttle saloon. We got the all-you-can-eat breakfast and dinner buffet.
Right.
Just got the racetracks out there. Got 300 cabins. Jackal's going to be playing on Thursday night, our 30th anniversary. Kids.
See, that's what I'm excited for. We're going to see Bill inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Your buddy Bill Davidson.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, and then we get to see you on Thursday night. That's the reason we're here, man.
You know what is just worked out beautifully is that. August the 11th is 30 years to the day that our first album dropped.
So
we're having our 30th anniversary on the day that we dropped our first album, and it's all happening right here at our home base, the Full Throttle Saloon Pappy Hoyle Campground, and so it's special for me. We're dropping a new record on this week, and as a matter of fact, a new single dropped out today called "Another Round."
Right.
That's great. You can get it on all. It's today or tomorrow. It drops. It's called "Another Round" on all streaming platforms, and so we're just celebrating life, and then of course another rally, the 82nd annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, and this place just getting more and more dialed in. I could not be more proud of my team. You know, just smiles, people shaking our hands, telling us that they're noticing we did this, noticing we did that, and just every year trying to make it better. So it's a big lift, but it's such a sense of accomplishment.
In the rock phase, and I had somebody ask me this question. I thought this is a really good question because when it comes to Jackal and the band, you guys have been together 30 years, and you don't hear about arguments, you don't hear about fights, you don't hear about none of that kind of stuff. You're the front man. You're doing the bourbons, you're doing the whiskeys, you're doing this. You're the face of Full Throttle. And how do you then, being as big as you are, you personally, then not have jealousies and all that kind of stuff take over with the band? Because you guys have just remained so close.
Well, they've all got their own things they do too. I mean, you know, Jeff paints, and you know he's into cool things. He's designing his own guitars and stuff. And then Roman's got the moniker jewelry that I'm wearing. You know, him and his family, they do that. And then also, and Roman also likes to build stuff. And Chris as well. Roman and Chris both. Chris works with doing redecorations, remodelings, I should say, remodelings on how he's got a business that does that. So everybody stays busy doing their own thing. Right. They're passionate about it. But we've been together so long. I mean, I'm not saying we're not without our fusses and stuff, but I mean, knock on wood. I mean, we're just like brothers, you know. So we've been very, very blessed to have, you know, the bunch of us together for all these years. And when we hit the stage, they keep me, as far as what all I do, they keep me centered. They remind me of where it all came from, you know, as far as, you know, because I can get caught up in the business, but there's something about standing backstage before we go on and just the vibe of the four of us together. Everything else disappears, and you hit the stage and it's just game on.
See, I remember because I interviewed you back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And traveled around with you guys a little bit. And it was, you were big then, but everybody was big. The band was big. Everybody was getting all this attention. And you just remained humble, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mama would whip you otherwise, right? That's all right. Mama would whip you otherwise. But so, yeah, I mean,
that's awesome.
We all had the same.
That's really, though, a tribute to what it is you guys have inwardly. For you know, like you said, you fight like brothers, but you're brothers.
Yeah, but knock on wood, we really don't fight that much. I mean, I mean, we just, I think over the years, there's a certain mutual respect, and everybody's got their lane and what they do and what they're great at. And we don't take each other for granted. Now, I think that's where other bands have issue. You know, there's that tug and pull and stuff. And I mean, I know I could go hit the stage without those guys, but it's just not the same.
Right.
And I don't want to hit the stage without those guys.
Right.
So
what's cooler, being able to pull out of here, doing your ride, watching thousands of bikes follow you, or coming out on stage and looking at all the fans' faces looking up at you? Coming
out on stage and play, that'll always be my first true love. You know, there's nothing that beats that 90 minutes to 2 hours that you're on stage. I mean, that's again, that's if I can let everything else go away, that'd be the one thing I got to keep.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that, no sign of stopping. I don't want to celebrate the 30th too much, because I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. I just want to keep going.
Right.
Keep getting away with it.
So give us a little insight of what's coming up on Thursday night.
Well, we're giving away a brand new Harley Davidson Road Glide special. Harley Davidson, I'm so proud to work with the Harley Davidson Motor Company. We have a series called the Rolling Series. So we do Rolling Daytona, Rolling Milwaukee, Rolling Sturgis, Rolling Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue in Arkansas. And we do 6-week campaigns. We drive people into the dealerships, and they have a chance to win trips to Sturgis. They have a chance to win trips to Daytona Bike Week, all this kind of stuff. But they have a chance to stand on stage with me. I'll have 10 finalists on stage on Thursday night. They'll each get a chance to stand. They're coming from dealerships. They randomly picked from 84 dealerships that we had partner with us.
Right.
And from LA and San Diego to New York and Boston, Miami to Detroit, Milwaukee. And there'll be 10 people picked. They're on stage. They each get to pick a key out of a bucket, and whoever's key turns the switch rides off on a brand new Harley Davidson Road Glide special.
I remember last year you did it in Milwaukee, and it was the second to last one that finally won the bike.
Yeah, in Laconia,
which is really cool.
In Laconia, we did this huge build-up. We're going to give this bike away. Everybody gets to pick a key. Where and know there's a little bit of anticipation. The woman reaches up there, sticks her hand in the bucket, pulls it out, first key, boom, cranks it up.
Really? There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it's great, man. It's like being Santa Claus. I get to be Santa Claus, 5 times a year.
Yeah. No, that's great. So I do want to talk real quick, because you're real close with the guys from VFW. You do a lot of stuff for our friends in the military. You're gracious enough to come to our ride again this year and say hello to everybody after your show on Saturday night when you come back to Milwaukee for the rally. Talk about the what the vets mean to you and what you want to give back to them.
Well, my uncle was a Marine. He was the top recruiter in the Marine Corps back in the 70s. And so, I mean, I grew up, as a kid, God, it's always something. I have to get. We'll rearrange that power
because we automatically will connect as soon as it gets a signal again.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It happens, man. Got high. It's not like any of this is high powered either. We're in break.
Thank you. They're up and running now. I'm going to leave it. Is everybody good?
I'm good. Are you good? We'll be back on here in a second because our connection's checking. He's in commercial break, so when we come back, we'll just pick it up. There we are. So we're back. So we're in commercial break. Okay, good. He hears us. So you don't have to travel anywhere the rest of the week?
No, I'm good. I bolted out for the last couple of weekends, but I'm here now.
Yeah.
I'm here until we get this place bounced back.
Yeah.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We're broadcasting live. We're here in Sturgis. Had a power strip pop on us. That's okay. We're back. Nothing wrong with that. Very quickly, Jesse James Dupree from the band Jacko also has the entire establishment here in front of him, kind of managing everything, which is amazing with your energy.
When that power went out, it scared me to death because we had one of our guys, it's kind of like Green Acres out here. You got all these ranchers. It is because we have all these ranchers that come. Like we got a guy named Dana that handles all of our plumbing. Local, right? Big rancher, hardcore guy. Over the years, he knows all of our plumbing out here.
Okay.
Then you get like Mr. Haney on Green Acres.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
We have Sheldon who does all the electricity. We have Barney who does all the signs and the fences and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got the only bucket truck in Sturgis. And so it's like a little children's TV show with our characters: Dana, Sheldon, Barney,
which just makes for a great TV show.
But Barney was stabbing fence post in the ground and stabbed in and hit a 240-volt line and blacked out all of our property and all of the ranchers nearby.
Oh, my
goodness.
Grid,
yeah. And it was so scary because we couldn't figure out what it was. It took us forever to finally figure it out because he had stabbed. But you figure he's got 600 fence posts out there. Which one is it?
Right.
Yeah, so they had the power company had to come out and locate and just tell me. So when that power went out, I went, "Oh my God!"
Somebody stabbed something they shouldn't have.
Something they should have.
Thank God it was just a 6-plug strip. We were talking about veterans real quick, I wanted to get into that because I wanted to get back to it because I know that's near and dear to your heart. So not only for what it is you do with the VFW, but like when you come to ours for Fisher House, Wisconsin, for military members, veterans, and their families who support those. So it means a lot to you when you're talking about giving bikes away and playing Santa Claus and stuff. That's all a part of it.
Well, we work with the VFW and to help them with the recruiting. They help all of our soldiers understand their benefits, collect their benefits if they're having trouble with their benefits. And so that's a big deal. But we have the Unmet Needs Program. And the Unmet Needs Program, it benefits soldiers that find themselves in financial hardship from being deployed or injured, whatever the case may be, and it helps their families. And it could be as little as helping with a hot water heater going out or making a house payment or you never know, medical bills.
Right.
And so for family members or whatever the case may be, but we're celebrating over $250,000 in the last 18 months.
Wow.
That we've raised with all of our Harley Davidson partners, radio station partners such as yourself, getting the word out there about it. The fact you'll open up a microphone, the fact that you reminded me to talk about it,
right?
The fact that that we can let people know that they can find the VFWs that are out at the if they see them out at a Harley dealership, they can go over. Even here at the Full Throttle, you can make a donation right there for the Unmet Needs Program, and if you're a veteran, you can. And if you've got a family member that is a veteran that served in a foreign war, I'd strongly suggest that you encourage them to seek out their veterans of foreign wars because either they may need some help from the VFW at some point, or they could help the VFW help others that do need it. And these veterans, there's not a more loyal bunch to each other than the veterans. And I never served, but I'm proud to say that I've done what I can to support those fellows.
Yeah, and you do every year for us. The last 3-4 years, you've been
just
over
like
with
you. I mean, how many years you've been doing your thing now?
15. This is our 15th anniversary, and it was interesting because normally you kind of show up. And we say, hey, you're here. This year I called and I said, hey, can you do this? And when we announced you're coming, that was a big deal. People said, well, we're there. And they think it's so cool that you're going to be a part of that. And you've already committed to that and coming over and saying hello.
I'm again proud of it. It's not hard to twist my arm to get on a motorcycle and ride, hang out with all you people that are riding. I say it all the time. There's not a more charitable bunch of individuals that'll give you the shirt off their back. There's somebody that rides a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and proud to be part of that fraternity. And, and look at this out here. I mean, this is what's left of real America. I mean, the media's got everybody so divided, and you get caught up in watching either your Fox Newses or your CNNs, and I watch both of them so I can figure out that the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Right.
And but we've been so divided over the last decade, or so, and the fact that you can come out here and you can't tell a Democrat from a Republican or whatever, or an Australian from a Belgium,
right.
Whatever, but they're from all over the world, and everybody's bellied up to the bar. A 21-year-old hanging out with a 75-year-old, and they got their arm around each other's back and taking a cheers to the riding the Needles Highway together, and I wish that everybody out there, even if you don't ride a motorcycle, you should come to this event because it truly is a humbling experience to think about this country. You look at the Black Hills of South Dakota, Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse, Deadwood, Devil's Tower, the Badlands, just all these incredible Spearfish Canyon, just all these things that if you come out and you think about the fiber of the men that drug their wife and kid in a covered wagon across this terrain to settle this part of the country. And, and then you wake your ass up every day and think, what am I going to do today?
Right.
So it really puts things in perspective of just, how blessed we are at this day and age and to be able to come and do this. And we've suffered through a couple of years of COVID. We've had strong rallies in spite of, but look at, we're outside.
Yeah.
It's hot. Everybody's hanging with their groups. You can't get any better critical distancing than on a motorcycle. But, but nonetheless, I'm not saying that for politics or COVID or anything. I'm just saying how blessed are we that this exists and that we get to do it 82 years, 83 years next year. So make your plans to come out. Even if you don't ride, there's so much that you'll enjoy. You get on this property, you don't need to ride. You don't need to leave. Everything's here.
You still experience it all, even though you may not be on two wheels.
Yeah.
Certainly bring out your golf cart and hang out for that.
Exactly.
That's a lot of fun as well. I know you got to run. I know your crew is going to be dragging you all over the place too. But man, I always appreciate it. Love you for doing what you do.
Oh man, I love you too, Bill. I'm so proud that you're out here. I'm glad you were able to finagle things around. And I know Bill Davis is going to be excited that you're there with him. Yeah. As he's inducted into the Sturgis Hall of Fame.
I told this story, and I'll tell it on the air with you standing next to me. But I called a friend of mine because I had said we were going to come out last week.
Yeah.
And I said, make the preparations. We're going to get there a week ahead of time. And you called me. You picked up the phone. You called me. And I said, I've never heard a grown man with so much empathy and love in his voice. I said, please come out. I want you to hear for the 30th anniversary.
Don't miss this one. Yeah.
Yeah, don't miss this one. So it was almost like I gave you a hug through the phone. Yeah, I said, okay, we'll rearrange the world. We'll do it. We'll make it work. Packers training camp. We're coming out and hanging out.
I just felt bad last year because you were here for the week before and there was a handful of people here.
Yeah.
But as you were packing up and leaving, you were passing just thousands and thousands of people. And I'm going, damn, he's going to miss the party. So I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for rearranging. I know it took a lot for you to rearrange everything.
We brought friends that want to see you and want to see the band in the 30th anniversary. And I can't tell you how many people have said, I remember when. And that's the best. I remember when. But yeah, you're still kicking ass and still rocking, and that's so much fun.
I hear these stories. People come up and tell me the first time they heard the band or the first time they saw the band, or do I remember playing this venue, or do I remember this or that? And I hear it. And it takes me back to, I was sitting in a car with Brian Johnson from AC/DC, and he and I went to a festival together in Florida and sat in and jammed and had a lot of this back several years ago. And somebody came running up and wanted him to sign their Back in Black CD. And he signed it. And then he told him that I should sign it. He's so humble, and I wasn't worthy to do the Back in Black. Back in Black, right? So the guys run off, and he goes, I never understand the signature thing.
Yeah.
He said, it's always just, I've just always thought about that. And I said, well, maybe for me, for where I am in my career, I said, but that's Back in Black. I said, people can tell you where they were when we landed on the moon. People can tell you where the day that Kennedy got assassinated, and everybody can tell you where they were the first time they heard Back in Black.
Right.
Yeah. Or shook me all night long. But I'm often, every time I think about Brian in that conversation, now that I'm at 30 years and people are coming up going, I saw you when you first got started in Michigan, or I was there. Yeah. I was there when you cut yourself in Florida, or I was at Woodstock 94, or I saw you in DMC jamming in Milwaukee, or I was, and just these people that is part of their life, the experiences that I've had. So I've been a very blessed son of a bitch, and I'm going to keep it. And so are you, my brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Bill Michaels in the Badlands, baby.
Love it having you.
We need t-shirts made. Bill Michaels in the Badlands. That's what we got to get.
I'm just going to put one that says I'm with him.
There you go.
So I can go anywhere where you go. Jesse James Dupree of the band Jackal. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Awesome stuff. Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now,
sword, right? I think there's been some great moments on both sides of the ball, both in the run game and in the pass game. And ultimately, it comes down to we'll get a better indication of where we are in this next game.
That's Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back to the program. We are broadcasting live, Sturgis, South Dakota, and man, what a pleasure it is to get Jesse on the air with us. Good stuff, really good stuff. Kind of getting off of the sports topic for just a little bit. Now, Ben, you how old were you in 1992, 93?
Am I supposed to answer that?
Yeah.
I was -6.
Wow. So, have you ever heard anything from the band Jackal?
I have not. And that also might say something about myself as a music consumer, but no.
Yeah, you got to find the Lumberjack song. And then they got a lot off that first album. Down on Me was a really good tune. But the Lumberjack song is the one that is probably the most well-known because he actually plays a steel chainsaw on the stage. I think that's the song that, for the most part, they end with when they either cut up a bar stool or cut up a guitar or something with the chainsaw. But he actually plays the chainsaw. So you're going to have to pull that up at some point. And we'll play that tomorrow as well on the program as we get ready for the show coming up on Thursday night. So, but good stuff from Jesse James Dupree and the band Jackal. This is from Mark, who said, or not Mark, we already read that one. This is Dwayne, who said, saw you guys downtown last night. I had a chance to see you at the Stinger Bar. Yeah, you know what? We were talking about that a little bit earlier before we had brought Mike Clemens on. But last night, went down to a Big Al swap shop, and there's a place down there called Sound Art USA, which is the canvas prints and such that they have down there are just amazing. And all the different things that were handmade, whether it's the chairs, the bar stools, some of the other things that they have in that place. But then across the street is the Stinger Bar, and 4 gentlemen got together years ago, all retired or semi-retired, and started putting their craft together and just basically built this bar from the ground up in this old building in downtown Sturgis. And they're the most generous, nicest group of guys and Americans, I guess is the best way to put it, that you'd ever want to meet. And they have, a little society down there, and they're just really cool people. And they got cigars in the back of the shop, and you can go out back and hang out underneath the awning out there and smoke cigars with them and hang out. But that's what we did. And if you're coming to this Sturgis rally, or maybe you're here and you're listening to the sound of my voice, 2 great places to go in downtown Sturgis. One, obviously, is over at Sound Art USA. If you're looking for any really cool canvas prints, maybe you get a great shot of yourself on the bike or here at Full Throttle or something, you want to turn it into a canvas print that has sound and music and can come to life. That's one way to do it. But if you're going to go just enjoy a beverage, man, you got to get down to the Stinger Bar, downtown Sturgis. Just look it up and walk to it and just enjoy the view, enjoy the people, the camaraderie inside that place. Just a wonderful place. And we found it last year, and it's a destination every time you come here. You got the chainsaw song?
I do.
Do it. There you go. That's it. You've never heard a chainsaw played on stage before. That's awesome. That's the one they're famous for, and then there's others, but man, oh man. Ben, they are coming to town the weekend of our motorcycle ride, which is Saturday, September 3rd. They're playing at the Harley-Davidson Museum. If you want to go backstage, I will bring you up on the stage next to the stage as they play the chainsaw song. Now, see, this is your musical expansion. I can bring you into the Milwaukee Rally and put you up on the side of the stage on Saturday, September 3rd.
Oh, God. As long as there's no photographs, I think that'll play.
Well, what do you mean photographs? Is photographs of you on stage? Standing on the stage? No, I'm not putting you on the stage to sing with them, for God's sakes, but you can come up and hang out on the side of the stage.
Yeah, I got to go back home and say, yeah, Mom, you see, this weekend, Wisconsin played their first football game of the season. Yeah. I didn't watch it or go to it.
Oh, no,
Instead, I started playing a chainsaw.
The concert isn't until later on Saturday night. It's like 8 o'clock on Saturday night.
I think Wisconsin is in the night slot.
That's okay. You can still watch the game. We'll stop down at Stenny's, and then afterwards we'll head on over to the Harley Museum. We can do that. Life is good, man. We can do it that way. That's not a problem.
I will. I'll choose to ask for family forgiveness instead of permission.
Okay.
You know?
There you go. There you go. We got you covered. No problem. The chainsaw song.
Are there any other large pieces of machinery that are played during the songs?
No.
Before I get my head cut off?
That's it. Just the chainsaw. But that's all you need, really. You know, when you got a guy up there singing rock and roll music and then wielding a chainsaw, what more do you want? You know, like axe throwing or something?
I am wildly impressed at the different tones that machine has. I would expect it to be just one consistent tone.
Unless, of course, you're delivered to the stage by like a giant cat, earth mover or something like that. Another large piece of machinery bringing you to the stage. We really digress. We've gone down a crazy rabbit hole, but still cool as hell. Like it. I got to expand your horizons, Ben.
Should I be taking
sometimes old school needs to meet new school and slap new school in the face and say, wake the hell up. That's what it needs,
Should I take DMT before I come to the concert or afterwards?
I would take it during. I'd get there just before we walk up onto the side of the stage. See, we need to bring Rowdy for sure, and Ebo's got to get out of his comfort zone. We got to, because I just saw him kind of perusing and acting cool and dancing and such in Vegas, and now we got to throw him in leathers and rock him down. So we'll do that. So Jen's up for anything, but Ebo, he's got a comfort zone that he likes to remain in. We got to get him outside of his comfort zone. Do that.
I do think the power rankings of this station, who would be easiest to bring, Ebo and Nelson might be tied at number 1. I'd probably put Ebo first. He's more up for whatever, and then I think I'm definitely sitting third.
Okay, I have yet to get Ebo to Milwaukee. The only time I've ever seen Ebo in Milwaukee was years and years and years ago. He was doing a morning show with Joe, and they were out in front of then Miller Park, outside doing their show, and imbibing at the time, as a matter of fact. That's the only time I've seen him in Milwaukee. So we got to get a staff outing for the gang.
He can't leave the cats home alone. You know this.
Who watched the Cats when he was in Vegas?
That's a great question. Not me. That's for sure.
Oh, my God. I'm sure there's a pussycat babysitter that's out there on an app somewhere. Comes by and fills the water dish, and it is what it is. They drop a few pellets in the old chute, and off you go. Cats kind of take care of themselves, though. And if they run out of water, you got to leave the toilet seats up so they can drink out of the toilet. Oh, man. Good stuff. Coming up in the next hour, we got other people you're going to hear from that's not just making and waxing nostalgic like myself and Ben, but we're going to hear from Jordan Love, among others. So hang in there, Jordan Love, Romeo Dubs, Sammy Watkins as well. That is all coming up after the top of the hour. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends over there. By the way, got to always say hi to our friends at Quick Trip. Quick Trip has been doing so many great things for a long, long time, and we miss them out here big time. You don't realize how much you miss something until you no longer have it, and Quick Trip is one of those entities. Love Quick Trip. Can't wait to get back into our neck of the woods so I can start to stop by the Quick Trip on a daily. But Quick Trip, use your Quick Rewards card. Get yourself some of your own cash, absolutely free, no fee ATMs. And they've got a lot of good stuff over there at Quick Trip. And still throughout the summer, you buy some Mountain Dew, you can maybe pull that pop top off and win yourself some cash along the way as well. A lot of good things happening with our friends at Quick Trip. We got 3 hours down. We got another hour yet to go. We are broadcasting live. Beautiful Sturgis, South Dakota. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up right after this.
Welcome in. Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show on this Tuesday edition. We're glad you're with us. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over at Forgotten Fire Winery. Forgotten Fire Winery up in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. Great people. And as a matter of fact, I brought my second bottle of Moscato with me. So tonight, we're going down to Crazy Horse tonight to see the monument down there. And then after that, coming back here, it's going to be a hot one. So put out the awning tonight, turn the fan on a little bit, and sit outside, maybe a cigar and bottle of Moscato tonight. I know it's not the typical biker fare, but that's okay. Because, again, their motto is fun in a bottle. So it doesn't matter how you like it, how you enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery. Go to ForgottenFireWinery.com. That's ForgottenFireWinery.com. And don't forget, if you're in Peshtigo at the winery, ask for the Bill Michaels deal. They do have one. I'm not kidding. I don't say it just to say it. They do have one, and you do get a discount. So stop in. It's worth it. Just to mention our name, even if you feel weird saying it, do it. Everybody wants to save a little bit, right? Get a great deal. Do it. So Jordan Love, the starting quarterback for your Green Bay Packers, at least in the preseason, had a chance to sit down and chat with the media just a bit. And let's take a listen and kind of dip into what Jordan Love had to say.
Coach made it known what everybody knew already, that you were going to start on Friday night. What are you looking forward to in that first outing?
Yeah, just showcasing, everything we've been putting together so far during camp. Just going out there and, being able to make plays and going and getting a dub. So
feel like you got something to prove when you get out there?
Always. I always think I have something to prove. Like I said, that's the NFL. I think everybody has something to prove when they get out here, just to, have a reason why you're here and, why that you should stay here. So, I definitely have something to prove, and that's my goal is to show that during preseason.
How are you treating this week? Like, what goes into a week like this for game one of the preseason?
I'm treating it like a game week. It's a little different during camp. We still have a camp schedule. Not as much of like a game plan week as a normal in-season game. But, I think we'll start game planning Thursday and go, or not Thursday, but Wednesday, and go from there.
How wild is it that Danny's going to go on last night playing a preseason game, tight end, and now he's, your backup quarterback on Friday. Just the opportunity for Danny as well and his progress this camp.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. It's a good opportunity, like I said, for everybody. Danny, he's been making a lot of progress since he's been here, for sure. And it'll be a great opportunity for him to showcase his ability. Like I said, a great opportunity for him. He played some other positions the last place he's been, so just to be able to showcase what he has at quarterback will be good.
Do you have goals or, do you have certain things you want to work on during the preseason before you think about it going into this, few game stretch that you have, or is it just an overall trying to get a better flow of the game?
I think I have things that I want to improve on, just from a quarterback perspective, things I've talked about, that base, just having that rhythm. And I think when you get into a game, you kind of just want to be able to keep that same rhythm you have. It's a little bit different in practice. It might be a little slower, and then it picks up a little bit in the game. Just trying to take what I've been doing in practice and just take it to the game is what I'm going to try and do.
In the past, how does Aaron, does he talk to you on the sidelines, whenever you come out of the game, or do you guys wait until you get back and watch film?
During the preseason game, Aaron's right there on the sideline, talking to us the whole time, pretty much like a coach right there during preseason. Just eyes and ears on the sideline. Anything he sees, he'll let us know. So it's good to have him there.
You've played in preseason games before. What are you telling the rookies who this is their first game, they're getting ready, and they're getting all excited?
I'm just going to tell them, just try and go ball out. Take this opportunity and just treat it like, how you did in college. That's kind of how I looked at it. It's another opportunity for them to go showcase their ability. Obviously, it's their first NFL game, so, the nerves will be there, the excitement will be there. But, I'd say just go enjoy it and have fun.
Did the nerves wear off?
I think the first year, it's just the excitement of being in the NFL, getting that first, game, your family's there and all that. And then, after, you get a couple snaps and get a couple games in, I guess kind of wears off. But you still get excited for every game, things like that. So
there's a fine line between letting it rip, checking down, throwing the ball away. Where do you feel you are as far as that goes?
Yeah, I think I'm still progressing and getting better. There's obviously still times where I'm, trying to let it rip, trying to make, throws around people when, you might want to just find a check down in that situation. And the situation is, throwing it away. I think in practice we try and just continue to play the play as much, to work scramble drill and work different things. So that'll come out more in the game, I think, But yeah, during practice you try and let it rip, try and make those plays. But it's something that I just need to keep working on, progressing.
Jordan, going back to playing in preseason, did you feel like I know we spent a lot of time comparing this year versus past years, but did you feel like you got off to a pretty good start in that preseason game last year before the shoulder? Like, did you feel like you kind of met the challenge of having your first game action?
Yeah, I think last year just getting those first game reps was huge for me. I made a couple good throws in that game, and then obviously I did have the shoulder injury. But I think we only had one touchdown when I was playing last year, so that's something that I want to improve on. Be able to score the ball and just let everybody go out there and showcase what they got.
There you go. Jordan Love, the backup quarterback to the Green Bay Packers, in some of the Q&A. Jordan Love is still, very raw. And I'm watching some of the comments come in, Twitter, a couple of emails while we're sitting here. It's not Aaron Rodgers. I understand that, but I really don't care. There's, it's kind of like when Rodgers used to get compared to Brett Favre. They're not the same people. And let's be honest. Jordan Love, the only time Jordan Love gets a lot of cameras in his face is either one, if he plays, or two, in the preseason, because we understand what the hype of the preseason is all about in his particular case. So, for as much as I've said about Jordan Love, I don't care what he sounds like or what he does, as long as he plays well. That doesn't matter to me. So I'm not. I don't really critique that unless you say something completely derogatory or crazy or whatever, and you're off the beaten path. And even then, depending on your play, it is what it is. But it's nuts to go in a different direction just because you don't like the way the guy speaks. You know what I mean? So I just hope Jordan Love plays well. I think what you're hoping for as a Packers fan, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're hoping for as a Packers fan is that Jordan Love goes out on Friday night, takes on the San Francisco 49ers, plays extremely well, to the point that there are people that then say, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to give Jordan Love the range, that type of thing. That he plays that well that it puts a note to say, maybe it looks like he's ready to go. Because there's a lot invested in him. You on one hand, you appreciate if the pick isn't there, and if it doesn't turn out, you appreciate the fact for the recognition and to say we're moving on. Okay? On the other hand, what you're hoping for, I think, and if you are a Packers fan, you should be hoping for, is that he does pan out. He is exactly what the Packers thought he would be, what Brian Gutekunst thought he would be, that he was this raw talent that needed to be cultivated, needed to spend some time behind Aaron Rodgers, and becomes an incredible passer. That's what you're hoping for. Because otherwise, you are then still on the hunt for the successor of Aaron Rodgers. So as hard as I've been on what I believe to be the talent level of Jordan Love, I still hope that he is the talent that the Packers wanted him to be. Otherwise, you don't have that next successor, So as a fan, I hope he does pan out. As a fan, I hope it does work. So there you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. We're going to come back in just a little bit. We're going to hear from Aaron Rodgers, who also spoke with the media today. One other thing I wanted to get into, though, the Top 25 USA Today College Coaches Poll has been released. No surprise, Alabama number 1, Ohio State number 2, defending national champion number 3, Georgia. The full AP Top 25 going to be released coming up in 6 days, as a matter of fact. The Crimson Tide getting 54 first place votes from a panel of 66 major college football coaches. Alabama coming off with a loss in the college football playoffs to Georgia. The Buckeyes got 5 first place votes. Georgia got 6. Number 18, Texas, also received a first place vote. Is this the year that Texas breaks back through again and becomes that prevalent team that deserves all the attention? Texas has gotten a lot of press over the years because they're Texas. But at times it's been unwarranted. Clemson, by the way, number 4, Notre Dame, number 5, Michigan coming off of their first college football playoff appearance, 6th, followed by Texas A&M, Utah, Oklahoma, and then ultimately Baylor. So that's the way it all rounded out in the top 10. But Ben, when we sit here and start talking college football, and not that we're going to get that deep into the weeds on it, but I kind of thought Alabama, Ohio State, those are the two that everybody always talks about. Were you surprised, Georgia? But Georgia lost a lot. Just to the Green Bay Packers, they lost a lot. But Georgia lost a lot coming off of that college football playoff championship. But to see Texas in there, were you surprised at that?
Well, I just want to say the official statement from the offices of Ben Kenny when it comes to the coaches poll is that I do not accept this as a legitimate ranking system. I think it's stupid. I wonder which coach in the country voted Texas number 1 team. I don't think it's very hard to get to the bottom of that.
Right.
But if I were to look at this realistically and not just bash the hell out of it, there is a gargantuan gap between the top 3 teams in the country, Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, and everybody else. Like that gap between 3 and 4 might be as big as the gap between 4 and 25. It's just one of those years.
Mm-hmm.
So not that I took that away from this. That was already what I thought. We'll see when the other rankings come out. My main thought when I see this stuff is it's dumb and it's stupid.
So
and they should stop it.
Let's first of all, I 100% agree. Secondly, I hate rankings in college sports until you're into your conference schedule, because most of it's crap to begin with. And then say a team, remember years ago was it UCF, was it Central Florida or South Florida? And because they started out outside of the top 25, they couldn't even get a sniff. Not to say that they deserved to be there, but all they did was win. And they couldn't even get a sniff of a college football playoff. We saw what Cincinnati did. They went, even though they got beat, we saw them get beat, but they still somewhat held their own. You wonder if a team like Central Florida or UCF, I think it was UCF if I'm not mistaken, if they even deserve to be. But what you do is you put them basically so far down with a preseason poll that they have no way to climb into the top 10, the top 5, the top 4 to even get there. Just let it play out. And then once they get into conference play, then start ranking them against teams within their own conference. So that being said, and being the hypocrite that I am, so if you look at Ohio State being the number 1 team in the Big Ten, give me the top 4 behind them. Is Michigan number 2?
In the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Michigan is definitely number 2. They won't be as good as last year, but they will be quite good. After them, I would probably say Penn State is the best next team, though they're going to have to play a gauntlet of a schedule. Right. So they also get Auburn from the SEC and out of conference. And then behind that, it's weird. I think Wisconsin, Michigan State, Minnesota, Iowa, and Nebraska, and Purdue are all pretty much right there. Sitting here today, I cannot differentiate all of those teams.
Right.
I would pick Wisconsin to win the West. I think they're in the top 4 probably, but I could see 5 teams winning the West. If I had to take Wisconsin versus the field sitting here today in the West, I'd probably take the field. I just think once you get past the top 2, they're all jumbled up in whatever order you want.
There's a lot of question marks on all of those programs, in other words, in what you're saying. I mean, and we all know, the number 1 question is, will Graham Mertz emerge as to what we thought he is or thought he would be? Or do we see Graham Mertz just a tad better than what we saw last year, which really doesn't attribute to, putting yourself consistently into the top 10, we'll say. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, definitely. And there are also other things it hinges on. What does the O-line look like? And this is only in Wisconsin's building, especially the West. every other team has similar things where Iowa has a great roster, but their quarterback shouldn't even be starting in college, and they're going to go forward with him, see if they could score. Purdue, good quarterback play, solid offense, but they can't run the ball, and you don't know what the defense is going to look like. Nebraska is a total wild card. It's captivating for me because I'm a weirdo and I love this stuff, but I can't remember another season with as many teams being good, but no definite top of the conference level, especially in the West.
See, my big thing, and I know people are, there's a couple people that say, well, what about Nebraska? My issue with Nebraska is this.
I love Nebraska.
What's that? What'd you say?
I just love the Nebraska. I love the Nebraska program generally.
I don't know what Casey Thompson's going to bring to the table. Let's start there. And then beyond that, the fact that we have seen Scott Frost, he has had so much praise heaped upon him. And this is always going to be their year. And Nebraska hasn't done jack. They've been getting their ass whipped in the Big Ten since they came in with all their chest-pounding bravado. They've been consistently an underachiever. So I don't want to hear about Nebraska, and this is their year until they have a year. Once they have a year, then I can say, okay, let's talk legitimately now about Nebraska. But beyond that, they have not been able to do it consistently since the day they walked through the Big Ten door. And I don't want to hear about what a great program, what a strong program, who came from there. It doesn't matter. Because every year, Nebraska's, this is it. Here we go. And then they just fall flat on their face. So that's the reason Nebraska, they're a yawn to me. Until they make the splash and they do it consistently, they're a yawn to me. They're living off the years gone by of a national title. And kudos to them. They've got one. They can put that forever in their hip pocket and say, look what we've got. And there's a lot of programs that can't ever say that. And I completely agree with that. But in the recent history, this whole thing about coming into the Big Ten and beating up on the Big Ten teams and owning it, kiss my rear end. You haven't done anything. You've been consistently bad and underachieving and underwhelming, for that matter. Let's do this when we come back. Aaron Rodgers just spoke with the media. We want to listen to what he had to say on a day in which the veteran got the day off at camp. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, Bill Michaels Show, and on a hot one. It is hot. Now sitting at 91 degrees here in Sturgis, South Dakota, with a little bit of a breeze coming up over the prairie, but man, big time. Big time. Ben, I got to stop for just a second. We're listening to Aaron Rodgers coming up here momentarily. You feel that Nebraska is on the verge of being in the bowl this year?
I do. If you have heard any of my other stuff outside of this show, I was a big fan of them last year. They went 3-9. Their point differential was positive. They lost games in inexplicable ways, just handing them away to the other team. Like gross ineptitude on special teams or defense or their quarterback or whatever. Their schedule isn't that bad this season. They brought in, as you mentioned, Casey Thompson and a bunch of transfers on defense. Like they could easily be 5-1, 6-1, entering a tough final 4-game stretch. And then they could lose those 4 even and make a bowl. So I will say it's their year to make a bowl game, which isn't saying a lot.
Okay.
They'll go 6-6, 7-5.
Well, as we creep up on the beginning of the college football season, we will start to take a look around the Big Ten, and we will get predictions for each team. So, but you're already giving us a preview of what you might believe to be Nebraska's at least creeping up year, we'll say. So we shall see.
I mean, what else would I have been thinking about since last season ended, you know?
This is true. I kind of picture you if you were a cartoon character with this Big Ten thought bubble that constantly follows you everywhere of just numbers and signs and ampersands and such, just giving you all the different statistical information regarding the Big Ten and Big Ten football. So college football.
Oh, it's Gus Johnson's voice.
That's
like I'm in Starbucks and I'm getting a coffee.
I'm surprised you don't have him like as your alarm on your phone. You download his voice and you make it the alarm on your phone. Get up, something like that. I can see that.
I haven't even played the SEC music yet today. The SEC on CBS theme that will now be the Big Ten.
Right.
I haven't played that yet today. I might do that coming up.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Dropping it in at any point in time. In the meantime, Aaron Rodgers met with the media. Take a listen to what Aaron Rodgers had to say today.
Go. Aaron, I've been waiting a week to ask you this. What was with the feather in the cap? How did that happen? I just found it on the ground and didn't think it was going to stick around the entire practice, but I just found it on the ground, put it in my helmet. So it's not a lucky feather. We're not going to see it again? No. Unless some animal drops a different type of feather on the field, yeah. Thank you for providing that. You're welcome.
What do you get out of the vet rest day at this point, and what kind of goes into that decision for you?
I told Matt, I said, I'm never going to ask for a vet day, but I think I am the oldest player on the team, and if he was, thinking about it, this week being probably the most difficult week with Sunday indoors and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday pads, basically, that I wouldn't mind it. That being said, the work that goes on in the Hudson Center when they're outside is probably more strenuous than practice, so not exactly a vet day when it comes to cardio.
How important is it for first team reps, especially in the preseason?
Well, I think a lot of good has happened from, me breaking my toe last year. Gave him a lot of opportunities to take the 1 reps in practice. But as much as in this year, you've seen the fundamentals really start to kind of come together. Year 3, 2 to 3 is always an interesting year from development for a quarterback. I know I took a big jump, 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. But Tom Clements, I think, deserves a lot of credit for harping on the fundamentals in the way that he always did for me as a young player. And it seems to be sticking in for Jordan. And he's been having some good practices, and any chance he gets to take, the majority of the reps like today is always a good opportunity.
How much for someone like you that obviously knows the position at a very high level, can you tell that he's maybe made a jump? And how much are you just waiting to see when he's not in that red jersey and it's actually live? How much do you need to see for that?
Well, I mean, I've said it before. I think the practice reps are as important as the preseason reps. Preseason, you want to be efficient, you want to look good, but there's almost an expectation of playing well because it's very limited defense usually. Now, we used to play Tennessee back in the day, and they played their starters. That was more of a game-like situation. We usually got hammered, our second and third teams playing against them. But it's a lot more vanilla on defense. So I think the practice reps, a day like today, it's good film from to watch going against our 1 defense. Obviously, it's been very difficult for us throughout training camp. But it just comes down to consistency with the fundamentals. When he throws the ball on time and in rhythm, he's been very accurate this camp. It's just finding ways to be more consistent, every single time with those fundamentals. And it's been, I feel like it's been kicking in for him. He's been playing well.
Aaron, the big night for the twos, obviously, on Friday night. It's the biggest week for the ones when you go live, periods, with Saints for 2 days.
Yeah,
is that the most you're going to get out of this camp?
I think it's every day that we go against our ones. I said it day 1, no pads. We had a pretty good day. Since then, defense has been pretty good just about every other day. And it's important for us to take our lumps because there's a lot of positions that are up for grabs. Up front, at the tackle position with Dave and Elton, nursing their injuries and coming back whenever they can. Tight end, there's a lot of opportunities. Running back behind AJ and Aaron, there's a lot of opportunities. Receiver, a lot of opportunities. So this is great film and great practice going against that defense. Saints will be interesting. You never know what you're going to get. When we played the Texans a couple of years ago, it was very basic stuff. I remember a period in the red zone, they were dropping 8 like every single play. I'm like, what are we doing here? Are we actually getting some work in? But then last year against the Jets, I feel like it was pretty intense. They ran some different stuff. That was maybe the familiarity with Coach Sala and Coach LaFleur. But we'll see what happens. The Saints, and Dennis, they've been very aggressive defense. So we'll see how they play it in the 2 days we're together. Hopefully we don't have a lot of fights, but I would assume there's going to be a couple.
What is the process like when you are building a relationship with a new receiver that you haven't spent a lot of time with?
Process?
Yeah.
Well, you got to trust the coaching first and foremost. So I need to have a lot of conversations with Jason and make sure we're on the same page. So the thing that's being taught is the thing that I want to see on the field. Jason does a really good job at that, which is important. You got to trust the leaders in the room, specifically Randall and Allen, to pass the message along the right way. And then you got to hold them accountable. And when you get reps with us, you want to see the right stuff. That being said, you're going to coach the second team and the third team just as much because you never know who's going to be in that spot. Alan Lazard was working in the yellow group for a while, and you're watching that film just like you're watching the green group and the first group. We need to see consistency from those guys, and there's a lot of different aspects to earning the trust of the quarterback, whether I'm playing or Jordan's playing in the preseason here. You want to see the guys doing the right stuff, and it's little things. It's the stem on the routes. It's what they're doing at the top of the route. It's a scramble drill. It's the adjustments. It's being alert for the signals. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and we're going to be hard on them and coach them hard. And if I'm talking to a guy, that's a good thing. If I'm getting on a guy, it's a good thing. If I'm not talking to you, that's not the best. You want me to be critiquing and coaching you up and letting you give me some good feedback. And I've been trying to with as many guys as I feel like have an opportunity to be a part of this squad.
Yeah, so all that said about all the opportunities on offense and how good things are on that side of the ball, Matt hasn't shut the door yet on preseason snaps potentially in Kansas City. Do you see any need or any benefit that you playing in the preseason considering how good things are on that side?
I don't see any benefit to it. I definitely don't see any benefit to playing one series. If we're going to play, we should play and play a quarter, a couple series, 2 or 3 series. If we're going to just suiting up for 4 plays, to me, is a waste. So, and I'm not saying this to send a message to Matt. I've already told Matt the same thing. So we'll see what happens when we get there. It'd be nice if that were the case, if Kansas City was playing some of the guys too. But, when you have a stinker like we did last year in week 1, there's always going to be the second guessing of what happened at training camp. Should we have played more? Should we have played in the first game, the second game, whatever it might be? I don't want to overreact to that. Matt doesn't either. But if we feel like we need to go out there and play a quarter or more, that'll be Matt's call. I'm sure he'll lean on me and Big Dog and Alan and some of the older guys to see what they're thinking. But if we play, we should play and not just play 3 plays, 3 runs, and punt it. That doesn't do anything for any of us.
There you go, Aaron Rodgers talking to the media, which, by the way, I 100% agree with him. If you're going to play a quarter, play 2 or 3 series, get more than just, 4 snaps under your belt and then kind of go from there. Let's do this. We are broadcasting live. We're out here in Sturgis, South Dakota. We'll come back. Aaron Rodgers continuing to discuss, his off day, so to speak, and what's upcoming this week with the media at his locker. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show live out here in Sturgis, South Dakota right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Are you a gold breaker? Play your favorite games at Potawatomi Sunday afternoons now through September, and you could win your share of $1 million in prizes. Break the code, win the $10,000 top jackpot, and everyone playing slots also wins a prize. Anyone can win on any machine again and again. Do you have the golden touch? Gold Breaker, only at Potawatomi. Visit paysbig.com/goldbreaker for more. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Oh my God. You're killing me. Ben Kenny. Might not hear this very much longer. The Big Ten has their way. The CBS music for SEC football. I wonder what the Big Ten music is going to sound like if CBS, NBC, Fox all grab a piece of that pie. 1.25 billion in television rights. 1.25 billion is the estimated ceiling for that deal. That's
we
upcoming.
better get the song.
So, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's, you want that music?
Oh, no doubt. Put on your Brad Nessler voice for a second.
Yeah.
Instead of the SEC, you are now watching or welcome to this presentation of the Big Ten on CBS. And the music hits
like
it's the best
music.
moment of my
It's
life.
Not like, I don't know. It's not like NCAA tournament music. That brings goosebumps.
Oh, it's better than all of them.
Oh my God, you're killing me. You're killing me.
That's my favorite. Like, I love the NFL to death, but that still is my favorite single moment of the week at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday when that plays.
You are the college football geek. I will give you that. By all means. Yes, you are. Let's do this. Let's get back into it. Aaron Rodgers talking to the media at his locker just a little bit earlier today. Take a listen.
Next year was to preserve your bodies for the full season, right? So you had to sneak in week 1 NFC's top seed. Would you say that plan kind of worked out?
That's the question. There's injuries in football all the time, so I think it's kind of a no-win situation to the outside the building. If somebody gets hurt, I can't believe they played our guys. But if we go out and have a stinker, I can't believe they didn't play them. So I think you just got to do what's best for the squad. And Matt's going to do that. He's going to lean on, the leaders of the football team. And if he feels like we need to go out and play, then we'll go out and play. But I don't want to just go out and play 3 plays. That, to me, is a waste of time.
Back to the receivers, is there an ideal for you for how many you'll carry on the roster?
No, I don't think so. I think we need to have the 53 most deserving players on the team. There's been years we've kept 5 tight ends. There's been years we've kept 7 receivers. Years we've kept 4 or 5 backs. It's got to be the 53 most deserving. Now, there's obviously, some stuff that goes into that, where guys are drafted, different things like that, which we know in Green Bay plays into it. But there'll be some tough cuts, which is good. There'll be some tough cuts at a number of different positions. Receiver, with the way Rich is doing things, we need guys who are playing teams at that 4, 5, and 6 receiver spot. So whoever's balling out on teams should probably get those 4, 5, and 6 spots.
What are like those 5, 6, 7 spots? What can those guys do with you to sort of separate themselves?
They're not going to be playing with me a whole lot. So they got to ball out when they get opportunities and listen and pay attention and do things the right way. The drops are going to happen. The guy slips might happen. But what can happen if you want to be on the team is the mental part. The preparation, I think, and the effort. Those are things that come from within. So as long as you're showing effort and you're getting after it and you're doing the right thing, you got a good chance to make the team. But 4, 5, 6, 7's got to be playing on teams and got to be playing well.
We've talked a lot about what they need to do. What have they done? Like 4 years ago, I don't know if I've ever seen you as pissed as you were at the receivers that day. You ran the cards, and you said their effort was piss poor, and Jake was the only one that really did stuff. Has this group been good about doing the things they need to do, or is there a lot of room for improvement? I mean, maybe you're, with everything that's changed, maybe you're softer now. You wouldn't say that about this group like you did that one, but it seems like they've been better than that group was.
That group had some lapses in effort from time to time, and I probably am a little gentler, as Cobby would say, but the effort hasn't really been an issue. The mental part, for sure, there's been some real strange mental errors from time to time, but they do it quickly. They do it with speed. That day, as I remember, it was just a total lack of effort, which was bizarre to me because I love the Carter periods, and it's a chance to go out and dice them up with other people's plays and the ad-lib and just go full speed and make some plays. These guys, they busted. They for sure busted, and they're all talented athletically, but mentally there's been some lapses for sure. A lot of it's great. I was sitting down at lunch with Romeo yesterday, and there are a couple plays that he would love to have back, and I said it's the best thing that could happen because I'd rather it happen on a Monday in August than on a game day in September. He had a play where he was supposed to let Ja go and block probably 59 who was coming out on a blitz. He went to get Ja. It looked really bad. And I'm like, this is the best thing can happen. Now, how do we correct that is the next time the situation comes up, we got to do the right thing. But mistakes are going to happen. And the most important thing is to learn from those mistakes, not make repeat mistakes. There's been too many of those, I think, from some of those guys who are really on the bubble to make the squad of, scramble drill alerts and making sure the signals and the adjustments, kind of like expecting those things. But that's a process. First you got to be an expert of what you're doing and then be able to feel the timing of the adjustments or the cans or what I might be thinking or how to read a coverage. And that's why I said in the beginning, we need to have a lot of patience and the expectations need to be reasonable. But I will say between 88 and 87, there's been a lot of positive things that makes you feel good about the depth we could have in that room.
Aaron, after that first day, you mentioned that the defense is going to kick your butt. That. At what point do you want the offense to start turning the tables there?
I don't know if we're going to. I mean, they're a talented bunch. I'd like to stalemate every day. and I think that's possible. It starts with up front. Yesterday, I felt like the energy up front was not. I mean, from the entire group, we were just a little bit gassed for whatever reason. Sometimes that happens after a hard indoor practice where you kind of come out and, maybe a little more tired that day. Who knows if, maybe guys didn't sleep well the night before or whatever the issues were. We didn't have the energy that we usually do up front. But when we're getting after it up front and running the ball well, which we have on certain days, it allows us, to get after them a little bit in the passing game. But we got 3 really talented corners. We got 2 backers who can really fly. So it's going to be tight windows in the passing game. We got a bunch of young guys playing. But I feel like if we run the ball effectively, we have a few days where I feel like we've really gotten after them up front. That's good for us. But I want us to take our lumps. If we're taking our lumps this training camp, it's going to be probably a little easier once we get to the real thing.
Jordan Love has been in the spot.
What's like that the defense is winning most days. You're okay with the progress.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's important. How we deal with adversity is how we reveal the character of our football team, especially on offense. And, we need to take our lumps and figure out what kind of football team we're going to be. So I love it. I mean, it's great. I mean, it feels good. The defense having confidence. There's been some training camps we beat the hell out of them, and doesn't do great for their confidence, But when they're confident and Joe is opening up the playbook and running a bunch of crazy stuff at us, it's great because we'd love to see, from an offense standpoint, be aggressive as you possibly can, and we'll take care of our business, but you guys be aggressive and attack. And when it looks good against us, I think it's going to look good against other people too.
So Jordan will be
offensive line. Can get to where because you keep saying you don't have 69, you don't have 74. You also don't have Lucas Patrick. You also don't have Billy Turner. Veteran guys. There's a bunch of young guys. You got to go on there.
There you go, Aaron Rodgers speaking with the media. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We'll come back, pick it up, wrap it up. All coming up next, broadcasting live out here in Sturgis, South Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99. Okay. Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Oh, 2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Approved credit.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update.
Oh,
In Green Bay,
there you go.
here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers will practice in pads getting ready for Friday night's road game against the San Francisco 49ers. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur asked if Jordan Love will start at quarterback instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, he will.
Rookie receiver Romeo Doubs says he's looking forward to his first NFL game. Does he feel in sync with Jordan Love?
Yeah, I'm really in sync with Jordan. It's the first preseason game. I'm excited as well as all the other rookie receivers. Samori. It'll be exciting. I can't wait for it.
The Packers' third-string quarterback is Danny Etling, who played for the LSU Tigers, spent some time with the Patriots and Falcons. Does he know how much playing time he'll get Friday night against the 49ers?
I'm not sure yet. I've been taking it day by day, so focusing on the next practice and getting ready for those opportunities in the game. But, for now, I'm focused on getting, this film corrected and then having a good day tomorrow and then continuing to grow as camp goes.
The Packers posted their first depth chart with David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins still out. Their starting offensive tackles for now are Yosh Nijman and second-year man Royce Newman. Matt LaFleur.
We haven't even played a preseason game yet, so I think you could argue every position up front is open for battle.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens.
Final segment of the day, broadcasting out here in Sturgis, South Dakota. Pappy Hoyle, the campground, the originator of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. And right next to Full Throttle Saloon, where, as you were looking at live right now, I feel like Brent Musburger, Ben, when I say that, you are looking live, his famous words. As you can
it's ESPN, though.
Yeah, well,
that's old news.
That's true. But still, I feel like I'm recreating that. As if you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, you can see the bikes continue to pour in off into the distance at the Full Throttle Saloon. Before we go, Mike Clemens was trying desperately to get a question into Aaron Rodgers during Aaron's presser and kept getting stepped on. This is Mike getting his question into Aaron Rodgers and talking with him just a bit.
Friday night, Jordan will be in the spotlight. Has he gone through as much ridicule or criticism or doubt that you did from 05 to 08?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I think there's always pressure on a first-round pick. The tracks are looking more similar by the day. Him being in his third year and me waiting behind Brett for 3 years. Something clicks in at some point, and the game slows down, and you make the plays that you're capable of making. And I look forward to watching him on Friday and against the Saints as well. But the most important thing for a quarterback is that confidence, and the confidence comes from the consistency and the fundamentals and making plays in practice and feeling good about the offense and all the things that are expected of you. But, I think all of us come along at our own pace. I needed, the years to get to where I was at. And whether the criticism was equal in 05 and 6 and 7 for me as it was for him, I don't know. Some of that you kind of move past as you've had success. But I'm excited for him this preseason. I think he's had a really nice camp, made some good throws, more consistent with his fundamentals, and I hope he goes out and balls out.
There you go. That was Mike Clemens talking with Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron said he's traveling down a lot of the same path. I know Aaron's giving him a lot of credit. And Aaron's,
I don't want to say posturing to build him up. I think he genuinely wants him to do well, whether it's in Green Bay or somewhere else, depending on what the career path is for the remainder of Aaron Rodgers' time in Green Bay, or whether he just genuinely wants him to be able to kind of take the baton and run with it once Aaron decides to say that's enough, enough's enough. But there's a lot of eyes, and there's a lot of us waiting, arms folded, I think, for Jordan Love to actually materialize and turn into the guy that everybody, at least in Green Bay, thinks that he either could be, should be, or Packers fans want him to be. But that being said, so another good day out here. 96 degrees right now with a feel-like temperature of 98 here in Sturgis, South Dakota. You have no idea looking at us on the Bud Light live stream how truly hot it is right now. But it's hot. That's okay, though. Got some riding to do this afternoon, heading down to Crazy Horse. Back at it again tomorrow, same place, same time. And it was great. My thanks to Jesse James Dupree, the band Jackal, coming up here and joining us for a little bit. Thanks to Wayne Larry, the voice of the Green Bay Packers. Mike Clemens doing great work in Green Bay as well. Thanks to you for taking a listen to us. Thanks to you on the Bud Light live stream for watching us. Until we talk again, time for us to go. Have a good one.